Class, today we are going to be talking about things that rot your brain. Teacher, I hear the Rob Taylor report will rot my brain. Is that true? What a tool. Well, that's correct, Susie. If you listen to the Rob Taylor report, it will rot your brain. Therefore, you must dive under your desk, grab the back of your head, and do the duck and cover maneuver. Let's see this example. Mama, I want to watch the Rob Taylor report. Timmy, no! It's too late. You've been warned. Children should not watch the Rob Taylor report. Somebody please think of the children!
Hey, Coos County, I want to thank you for joining me. I've got a big lineup for the show for you. I've got our regulars. I got Marty on here. Hey, Marty.
There's that guy again.
There's that guy. And I got Brandi. Brandi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing good. I really love doing the Friday Night Rant, unlike my other show that's in the daytime, because I'm normally get ready for bed and I'm in going to bed mode, and then 9 o'clock I'm in bed. You know what I mean? I'm old and that's where I'm at now. And it's cool because it's like, I know I can come on here on Friday night and I get to sit with a bunch of friends and talk about my favorite thing, politics, and what's going on around the state and in the county and such. And this is cool that you can do this in the modern era without having to leave your house, because it's so dangerous to leave your house. I mean, it's crazy out there with the weather and such.
Well, now that the Department of Transportation doesn't have the transportation bill to keep the roads safe.
Yeah, I know. What are they going to do with the $4.6 billion of grift that they are hoping to get away with? I mean, and they were hoping to bump that DEI budget from $30 million a year to $300 million a year, because that's a great way to refill their coffers or fill potholes. I mean, yeah.
Fill potholes with their coffers. They, yes,
drive over the coffers.
They have so much money at the state level. That's what's insulting. And anyone who's watching this knows they have a lot of money. They've been trying to buffer themselves from what they see as the federal cuts that are coming. They'll start, especially this year, from the Trump administration. He has cut into a lot of their education budget because of the DEI wokeness that's still going on to this day. He's cut into the SNAP benefits. He's cut into other benefits where he's got qualifications for getting these and receiving these entitlements that people have gotten used to. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that our Mr. President Trump has
done. It's a marvelous thing in that he's basically saying, prove to me that this is not corrupt. Prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that this money is actually going to the causes that you say it's going to go to. And they refuse to give him the documentation. He's like, okay, well then I guess you're just going to have to do without. And I'm like,
oh, did you guys see that they've extended the deadline for Coos County residents to submit a claim for SNAP benefits that were food that was damaged during our recent storms?
Oh, yeah, I think I did see that alert. Yeah, how does that work actually?
Who would have had, where was a power outage for an extended period of time that would have destroyed food? Where was there flooding that would have flooded homes and destroyed food? Like, is this not a massive fraud? And
yeah,
I'm totally,
I don't know.
If I'm wrong and people can show proof and show photographs of damage, then I will absolutely admit I'm wrong. But as soon as I read that, I'm like, I'm sorry, this is fraud. There was no extensive damage from that storm.
Yeah,
so I gotta ask.
The lights went out. I lost my place, and I ran over a box of Twinkies. Where do I get my money back?
Where do I get my money back? Well, the great Doug Washington has arrived, and he is here. And we're talking about SNAP benefits that somehow in Coos County, if you got your food damaged in the recent storm, you can get some of it replaced now, according to Brandi.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it's more than just our county, isn't it? Is it statewide or various jurisdictions throughout the state? But it's a big thing.
It was targeted at Coos County. The ad I saw was targeted for Coos County, which really raised my alarms, because we didn't have any severe damage in Coos County that would have damaged people's food. You know what I mean? Where you have freezers going out,
I
cabinets
had
getting flooded.
prime rib. I had at least a half a side of beef. It was all ruined.
So many cases of
Right.
lobster destroyed.
Right.
It was destroyed. Lobster destroyed in this storm, and I was in fear of my life. What can I say?
Yeah, it's just more corruption, more handouts to people. I like feeding people, like me individually, providing food for people. I enjoy it. I loathe and despise when the government does it. Oh, the children. Oh, the children.
Yeah.
You know, at what point do you just say, you know, the old saying, you don't, can I say a bad word?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called a
You
rant
don't-
for a reason.
It's
you don't
Friday
work.
night.
You don't work, you don't eat. You don't eat, you don't shit. You don't shit, you die. And when do we start teaching kids that? You know, they've got food trucks running around all summer, providing food for people. Mom and dad have their vape pens. They've got their drugs, their beer, whatever it is that they like. They've got, you know, that. There's exceptions to it. And I've had people that I've known, you know, through our media presence and through the shop and things like that, that were like really nice people I like, but they were so sycophantically fanatical about the fact that they received their food stamps and it was their right. You know, they never said it was their constitutional right, but that was the attitude. It's my constitutional right. I got my guns and my food stamps. And that's what it always felt like. Like, wow. And I've had to actually block some of these people. And there's no shame anymore either. Like, hey, you need some help? You know, nose down, ass up, get to work, do what you have to do, feed your family, you know, get those food stamps for a short period of time. And let's make it for a short period of time. But don't talk about it like it's a fact of life. When I was in the shop, I'd have people flip their wallets open. And it didn't matter if they drove up in an $80,000 pickup truck. They'd open their wallets, and the first thing you see right on top is that freaking food stamp card. Underneath the credit cards, underneath the driver's license, that tells me it's the most utilized card in that wallet. I despise the system. I've never seen anything like it until I moved here. It's everywhere to a degree. You know, there's WIC, there's SNAP, there's whatever the programs are, but I've never seen it so mainstreamed as it is here.
I've
And
lived
it's
in 4
encouraged.
different states, and it's not not embedded into the culture the way it is in Coos
Right.
County. And Oregon as a state, because a lot of it is unfortunately the state legislature, they have created this environment of learned helplessness.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
Learned
they've done it
helpless-
on purpose, now that's a rabbit hole, you know, that we could go down. I don't know. At some point, you have to admit that they definitely ignored red flags if they didn't outright intentionally do things that they knew would cause people to become more dependent.
You know, these people that are on food stamps and don't want to work, why don't they just open a Somali daycare?
There you go.
Yeah, there
Do
you go.
something. I respect the ones in Somalia, the Somalia daycare people who are working with all these other people and all these other organizations, these NGOs to defraud America. They're working to do it. You know, it takes them time to fill out all the documents and stuff. I actually have a little bit more respect, not much, but a little bit more respect for the guy who goes out there and actually puts in the little bit of effort to go through the con than these pieces of garbage who are just, give me some money because I'm me. You know,
It's my right.
It used to be that, you know, when you're getting food stamps, they actually look like, you know, they look like Monopoly money. You know, you went to the store, you used your food stamps, and it was like, oh, you'd be like, oh, you know, I feel really embarrassed.
It was embarrassing. Yeah,
I had to, you know, that I have to like get government assistance. And now they made it look like a credit card, like every other credit card. So you can just use it with impunity. And it also implies by the fact that since it's a credit card, you know, it's yours to use however you want. And it's like, you know, and it's like, that's not the whole point. The whole point is it's supposed to be a stopgap in case something goes wrong. It's not supposed to be a way of life. It's same thing with like minimum wage is not supposed to be $25 an hour because
Minimum wage is something like, I got 4 babies from 3 different baby daddies. The same daddy was only for the first baby and the last baby. And my job at the Dairy Queen doesn't pay for my rent. Well, it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Where the hell when did that happen? When did that happen? I mean, and I don't
80s?
critique anybody, probably, I don't critique anybody that's working. Like, I don't care how old someone is, but I remember just one day in my life, I pulled up to like a DQ or a McDonald's, whatever, and it was like an adult, and it was like, oh, that's different, that's weird. And then it just seemed to be this chain reaction, and within a couple of years, there's no kids working there anymore.
Yeah. I know. It's all people in their 30s and 40s, and you start to worry when you see more of those entry level positions being taken by people who should have moved on to something better in their life. And that is worrisome when you've got so many immigrants who are coming here, taking our place, who don't share the same values as people who came from this country, who have those American values. It's just something that's instilled in people who are from a country. You know what I mean? And
look at the swearing in of the New York Taliban. Was it yesterday, day before? What's his name? Mugavi, whatever the hell his name is.
Believe that?
He said, "We're going to get rid of. We're going to put down rugged individualism and embrace heartwarming collectivism." Yeah. Jeez Louise, man. I've never heard a politician say. I've never heard a politician that hasn't been drugged into a back room and beat with a rubber hose say something like that.
If we would have heard that, even in the 90s and the early 2000s, I would have heard that crap. I mean, people would have just gone just in revolt. You know, they would have been disgusted. But you know what they're saying, and this is what they're not. The kids aren't hearing this. When they say we want collectivism over individualism, what they're saying is we want the mob over you. We want the mob to rule over you and every other individual.
That.
And I don't.
They
want
don't
to
realize
be
what they're asking for.
Yeah, not
and
only
that's
that,
why.
but not only
they
that,
don't
but
understand
why collectivism is basically admitting that you're a failure. You don't want to do anything on your own. You want the system to take care of you. So if you're buying into collectivism, that means you've given up. You are you're not going to contribute anything. You just
there's some
want
really
to suck
good
off the government teat.
Social theory on that exact concept, Marty. The loss of self, the abdication of I. So within the abdication of I, when there's no I and there's only a we, there is no individual responsibility. So it's the loss of the self within the collective to escape individual responsibility. Collectivism, as it exists in other countries, has a whole bunch of social facets that the collectivist movement in the United States is devoid of. We don't have it. There's all kinds of responsibilities and expectations that come along with those collective benefits that America is not. It's the accountability piece that America falls short on.
And there are cultures.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
There's cultures that they can't handle prosperity. They can't handle a republic. They can't handle democracy. They can't handle it. Their IQ isn't geared for it. Their way of life, their genetics. I mean, there's nations in the world, man, that need a dictator. And we've seen that at times when we've deposed dictators. And then we've had to put another one in place because, like, holy crap, these people can't handle it. Well, these idiots, these half-wits that we have running around here now, they're like, we want collectivism, we want socialism, we want communism. They don't understand that system doesn't work in a place like that. And maybe it does. I'm saying this and I'm having, these free-form ideas right now. Maybe we've gotten to the point where we've degraded so much that these people in the youth, maybe they can't handle it anymore. Maybe their little pea brains are rotten to the point where they can't go and do things on their own. America is this amazing experiment that has never been experienced. Nothing like it anywhere else on earth. Is it perfect? No. Is anything perfect? Absolutely not. But it's the best damn thing that's ever happened. And
it's so rad. I love America.
It really is. Yeah. And that's
wait a minute though. You made a proposal or you made a statement there, Doug, that this generation, this new generation, this latest generation, whatever the hell they're called, XYZ, LGBTQ, whatever. Those guys, those people, those young people, they don't have any incentive to do anything. And I don't know. I got to push back a little because I've met over the last couple of years some of these kids who are actually pretty damn talented. And you can see some of these talented kids on social media. It's just mind-boggling. They're going back to like playing instruments. And I mean, it's so cool. They're going back to arts and woodcraft and building shit. And It's amazing what some kids are doing.
And enlisting in our armed forces and wanting to serve our nation. We absolutely have. And I guess maybe I was painting it with too broad a brush. And I wasn't really trying to put down everybody of that age category. But there is a large faction of them. Ranting. A large faction of them. But yeah, I don't want to paint them all with that broad brush, because same thing, you know, some of these younger people here, even around here, I know some guys that are, you know, younger guys in their early mid-20s, and they give me hope for America. They really do. I could even name, I won't, but I can name a couple of these young men right now that give me hope for this nation. Like, you are what this nation was built on. You are what our belief system is predicated on. We all have different beliefs, whether it's a theological, whether it's a legal, a moral, whatever our compass is. We all have these different beliefs, but we're a melting pot, and the basics of who we are and how we achieve should be monogamous. It should be that one thing. We strive to be American. We strive to better ourselves. We strive to better our nation, and we love our nation. And the problem is the left, the radical left, is fomenting a hatred of nation. And it's funny because I'm seeing more and more now where they're acting patriotic. They're waving American flags, and then they've co-opted religion. They've absolutely co-opted religion at this point. And I don't want to get into, like, you know, a theological thing, but they've taken all these tenets that have made America what it is and have bastardized these things and reformed them and remolded them. Like, you know, we're patriotic. Yeah, we're good Christians. Yeah, we're good. You know, whatever it happens to be, or whatever the descriptor happens to be, fill it in. But they're not. They're evil. They're nasty, vile human beings. And they're portraying themselves as something that they're not. They're portraying themselves like America was back when, but that's not what they are. It's a false narrative.
And that's kind of
funny
I
that
have
you
a
mentioned
question.
kids, because Ivan Hawker, he just made the comment. He says, I like to build shit. And Ivan he builds shit. He's a really quite the cool craftsman. And his kids are too. And they build shit, man. They work on motors. They work on all kinds of different shit, you know? And Phil Taylor was just commenting as well. And his kids are the same way. Every time he puts a picture of his kids on Facebook, they're knee deep in some engine. You know what I mean? I'm sure you've
playing with tools.
Absolutely. They're breaking something and fixing it. That's how you learn. Yeah. You break stuff. Yeah. And you know, we broke a lot of stuff when we formed this nation to make it what it is right now. And these evil, despotic people, they want to break it again and form it into something that they envision is this utopia. There's no utopia, man. Like, you know, life's not fair. Some people are going to die. Some people are going to get sick. Some people are going to starve to death. Some people are going to get shot in the streets. Some piece of crap's going to break into someone's house and get shot in the face. And these are all things that happen, man. Life isn't easy. And they have this narrative in their heads that everything's just be like roses and you should do what I say. And it's like, everything's good. And it's like, if we just do the collectivism thing, we'll all be really good. Okay. And then sometimes they don't do as much anymore, but if you ask them something and they'll make a statement and with an inflection of a question.
Doug, you said something that I want to hear you expand on a little bit more. You talked about people who, the way you described it, I heard it as these people are kind of now co-opting patriotism.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we need to be very careful watching people coming to the right, because the people who infiltrated the left and made it as wretched and horrible as it is, it's them. It's not the left inherently. It's like there's nothing wrong with liberalism in the classic Greek sense, right? So these are people who have made it terrible. Those people follow power. So as the right gains more power, I think to Doug's point, we need to be very careful watching for people who are going to now bang the drum of the right kind of disingenuously.
Absolutely. Where is it? It's a Durkistani chick wearing her hijab is claiming to be a Republican now. She's like, I am running as a Republican and I think Islam is good. Like, I don't know where did I see her? I linked to it somewhere. I'll have to find it. Like, that's a glaring, blatant example. But you're right. You're right. We see the schism going on right now in the right, and it's horrifying to me. I mean, the whole Charlie Kirk movement is. I miss Charlie. That guy was amazing. He was a really neat character for our time. I don't like necessarily what is going on now in his name. I don't like the people that are going against him. I don't like, and it's like everybody is clashing. Everybody that was kind of a conservative and had their spot. Once Charlie fell, it's like all these walls just started falling in, and there's no leadership, there's no point man anymore. And Ben Shapiro, I got nothing against the guy, but he came out like 3 days after Charlie Kirk was killed and said, I'm going to take up the torch, and I'm going to go to colleges, and I'm going to talk to kids like, hey, back up, buddy, back up.
Too
The guy's
soon,
body's
bro.
body's barely room temperature. And I'm seeing so much of that, and I'm so disheartened with conservatives, and I use air quotations again for conservatives.
Well, we're getting eroded from the inside. I mean, the whole point of portraying yourself as a flag waving conservative patriotic quisling, basically, you're trying to undermine the whole foundation of what's going on. And we see a lot of that in a lot of the Republican Party. I mean, why hasn't the ORP backed end vote by mail? And why are they, like, when they were doing their no tax Oregon thing, why were they shutting out some of the best, the best signature gatherers in Coos County and Douglas County, because we weren't the right kind of Republicans? And I'm like, and it's like, okay, so we're getting that kind of schism. And it's all, these are essentially people that are doing this on purpose. When they had the Nuremberg trials, one of the things that they found out was that these were not evil people doing evil things. It was people that were buying into the culture of follow the orders because the leaders know what they're talking about.
Just doing my job. Just doing my job.
And there are a lot of people are doing that now. I mean, Kotek's getting orders from somebody, and she's just following orders. And Dan Rayfield, the AG, same thing.
Tell me if I'm the only guy that feels this. And we've got a panel of 4, including me, so it's not like we've got a wide sampling. When the Trump administration came in a year ago, they hit hard and fast, and they had Patel, Bongino. Bongino came a little bit later. They have Pam Bondi. Is it just me, or did I sense absolute terror in those people within a short period after they took their positions? Like I feel like we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and they got in there, and it was like, oh my God, what's happened? How bad is this? I've always had this novel in my head that kind of portrays real life, where why are we doing some of the things we do? Why are we handing over the keys to some of these people? Why are we having these reigns? And I've always had this this novel, this screenplay in my head where there's been dirty bombs in our nation for years, and we have to kind of acquiesce the bad guys to a point so that they don't set these things off. Like they're still kind of a little bit in charge somehow. And I don't believe for a moment that that's a real narrative or a real event. But in my mind, I kind of feel like there's such evil going on right now that there is a little bit of like, okay, we have to give them the reins a little bit on this, because if we do whatever, then they do whatever. Like there's a mutually assured destruction of some sort going on right now. And I don't know what it is. And it's disturbing to me, and it's in the air.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, the people that have been running these scams for the better part of 2 decades now, and basically taking over all the governments. We'll call them the deep state. But anyway, these people have it's a well-organized crime family that goes worldwide. I mean, a lot of these wars that have gone on in the past aren't because there's some conflict that needs to be resolved by war. It's because there's a lot of money to be made in war. You make the weapons, you make the bombs, and then when everything's over, you make a lot of money rebuilding that country. And there's a lot of people that make money off that. I mean, all the foreign aid that we send out, where's that money going? And where is it coming back to? And what's it actually, what is it actually paying for? We're actually paying for the destruction of our own country.
Yes, we are.
Foreign aid. I mean,
we are.
We're paying to have guns pointed at our heads, and we're like, I think they found out it was going to be bad, but I don't think they thought it was going to be as bad as it was. And they're ferreting it out a little bit at a time. Because so many tens of thousands of undocumented people were brought into the country that were mostly fighting age. So they've got like hidden troops and hidden bombs and stuff like that.
100% on that.
If they execute incorrectly, then there will be repercussions. And they've already caught 2 major terror attacks and stopped them. But that's the whole thing. They're executing at a very slow pace, being very meticulous, following a very good script. And I highly trust what's going on and who's running things right now. But at the
Well,
same
following the
time,
Maoist Chinese playbook, they'll take 500 years to get it
Yes.
done. They don't
Yep.
care.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
they're playing the long game for sure. They're playing the long game, and I don't know if it's an actual quote or not. But was it Stalin or Lenin that said, America will hang itself with its own rope that it makes with the capitalist system? I love
Mhm.
capitalism. That's not an anti-capitalist capitalist
That's not
statement
the
though, from
exact
my
quote,
part.
but yeah.
But yeah,
Close
something
enough.
along those lines. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're funding these people. And like you said, some of that's getting ferreted out, and I love seeing it. I love seeing everything from shutting down NPR, the ads that pop up on my Facebook, the wackadoodle drugged out freaking freaks.
Yep.
Hey, you gotta give money to NPR, man. The guy's got like baggy eyes. He's so strung out. He hasn't had his heroin in like
That
3 days.
was weird. That
Yes.
was that was giving drug addict vibes.
Oh yeah, there's like 6 commercials of that guy.
Well, that's
Ah,
DEI. He's a DEI hire. If you're
Yeah.
actually on fentanyl, you can get hired into the commercials. You're part of it. You
Yep.
can be a white guy as long as you're on drugs.
Yeah.
and it's
And
clearly okay. So let's talk about merit. The right person for that position would have been a charismatic individual who drew people in, not a kind of emotional parasite who was using some kind of manipulation and gosh, old gee whiz me, kind of this
Yep.
real bashful kick in the sand kind of.
Victim.
It was just so gross, all of it, and
Yep.
clearly the best person didn't get the job, and that's what DEI
Yep.
does. It erases meritocracy.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was a perfect example of it. The guy had zero charisma. He was super unappealing. Not
The
the best person
racism
for the
of low
job.
expectations. It's the
Yeah.
racism of low expectations. I think that's
Yeah,
the
and then you got like Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Like they are the best of the best that the Democrats could put out on a ticket. And
Can
like,
you imagine? Let's go back in
Yes.
time. And that's our president and vice president right now. Oh my gosh. We'd be
Yep.
eating
We'd
people.
never found
We'd be,
out.
oh,
We wouldn't have
oh,
found out. They would
it's,
have been able to bury it. The only
yep.
reason I think all of this has come to light is because they have cut off a lot of the money that was going to this.
Yeah.
When it all comes to conspiracy theories, I have read enough declassified documents to strongly believe, and when I say enough, it's like I think I counted on my computer. I didn't realize it's like 7,000 pages. The
wow.
rumors are true, you guys. And so there is a bunch of redacted stuff, but once you read enough of these documents, you can start to read between the lines.
Yeah.
And like, dude, the rumors are true. There is a lot of really good people, but there is a lot of really nefarious agents at like every level, you know.
The conspiracy theorist being correct ratio is like 90-10 now.
Mhm.
And even going back just 5 years, it was, it's like, oh, that sounds crazy. Like as soon as COVID hit, it was like, I mean, the day it came out and people are telling me, oh, my parents are going to die. My grandparents are going to die. It's like, no, it's the news, man. It's like, oh, the storm's going to kill everybody. The storm, the bomb, diggity, cyclone, river, atmospheric, nuclear. It's going to kill us all. It's the same thing. It's the same narrative, man, just with different verbiage. And I couldn't believe people were buying into it. And those of us that held the line, oh, we were going to kill people. We're crazy. We're crazy. And I don't begrudge anybody for getting a vaccination or whatever they did what they had to do. But it was the sycophantic ones that wanted to go to war with us, that wanted us to die because we didn't get
Well, there's
vaccinations.
people, they wanted you in concentration camps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you remember for
Yeah.
a short
Never-
period that
You're
this
gonna
state
suffer
talked
a
about
lot.
putting the National Guard on the streets just to kind of make sure everything was good and stop
Yeah.
people to make
Mhm.
sure they had their vaccinations? Do you remember that conversation?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody
And-
else does. Nobody else does. Do you remember the arrows on the freaking going into Walmart? Yeah, I got to buy some toilet paper and cat
When they
litter.
closed
Social
down the
distance.
garden center.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't want you being outside. You got to follow the arrows because everybody knows that germs can't get to you if you're 6 feet away from somebody and walking down the aisle in the correct direction. Now,
They're like
big go-
electricity.
We got to
only
go
flow
back
one way.
to 2020.
Yeah.
We got to go back to those news stories. Now that we're in 2026, we're starting that new year. That's when it starts. People start to forget. So we got to go back to 2020 and collect
Yep.
all those old news stories and get those news clips
Yep.
and play them for our kids and they tell them where we went
Yes.
wrong. At
I
this
will
point,
never
we
forget,
should have got
man.
our guns and marched down to Salem, and you know what I mean. We just
I deleted my Facebook when I saw everybody basically becoming little red guards,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this is way too Chinese Communist Revolution for me. I got to get out of here. I deleted all my social media.
Yep.
Minded my business out in the woods.
Yep.
And stayed the hell away from people.
Hello, Reichstag, and my neighbors. There's 3 of them having a birthday party, and I think there's a 4th one pulling up now. Yeah, and can we get some, please? Like, what the hell, man? That was real. People were doing it. People were calling law enforcement.
Yeah, they're showing up in SWAT gear to close a barber shop, you know.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Minneapolis is burning to the ground. But pay no attention to that.
So I did implement a COVID-19. Well, I call it COVID-20 is what I did. Protocol in my shop, and I had bait bags for crabbing that are porous. Like the holes in them are like the size of a dime. They're just for holding bait, so crab can pick at it and eat it. Okay. And I was selling those as COVID-20 masks because the COVID was going to be worse than the COVID, and the 20 was going to be worse than the 19. So I had this whole shtick going on, and my protocol so that if the state came and said you don't have a COVID-19 protocol, you can't be open, I had a stick that was long enough. So I measured from my arm's reach to whatever the extending on that would be 6 foot. So it was like, I don't know, like a 3-foot stick. It was painted orange in the end. And my philosophy was, if I'm holding a stick and if I can hit you with it, you're too damn close. And that was my COVID protocol.
I love that.
I like that a lot.
That should be like a thing that we use in life all the time.
Use it all the time.
I like the stick rule. Don't get any, I like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sort of refines that phrase, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. And I'm like, well, I only need a 6-footer now. So
I could do a 3-foot stick, and I'm
3-foot stick.
Yeah.
There you go. I
like
like
quite a radius.
I first learned that methodology years ago in a past life. One of the things I worked with explosives sometimes. So if I'm wiring up shape charges or stuff like that, and then I have some of my guys, like, they're always curious, like, how does he do it? This is my thing. That's not your thing. So my guy, who was my right-hand man, he would have to keep sometimes the other guys away, and he would either like have tools in his hands or just start doing like the Homer Simpson arm swing to keep people away. And it was the funniest damn thing. And that was the inspiration for my my COVID stick. I feel good about that.
Yeah, mine was, everywhere I had to wear a mask, where they demanded I wear a mask. Otherwise, I could not enter the store. I had a mask made that said Orwell was right.
Nice.
And I would just wear that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So one of the reasons I wanted you on, Rob, was and thank you for the great rants, man. You guys have been going for like 32 minutes without a break. That I don't think anyone's even come up for a breath. That's pretty good.
I've been without caffeine for 6 days, and I've been fighting through the headaches. And yesterday I had some caffeine, and today I've had some caffeine. So I apologize for everything that's about to happen.
Yeah.
We'll go with that, man. That's cool. But you did a wonderful thing. You made the most funniest damn meme to go along with the show that I did on Monday about the port and how they're broke now. We ain't got no money at the port. And so what did
Robert,
you think when you watched that whole show, man?
Robert, that was, and I'm calling you Robert because that was the best show for my taste that you've ever done, because I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was like, no way. And then you do your narrative and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, he's saying exactly what I'm screaming at the phone right now, because I'm streaming on my phone. I could not believe it. I remember when I moved here and I saw that hunk of junk bridge and I thought, what a piece of shit. Why don't they just blow it up, scuttle it, put it down to the bottom, use it as an artificial reef? Like, nobody should be on this thing. And people that work for, you don't know anything about, like, no, I'm not a structural engineer, but I got some background and some stuff. I'm not a structural engineer, but I can look at that through eyes that aren't retarded and know there's no freaking way that thing can be saved without $500 million. And every time I go under it, I'm in the boat, go a little faster, get underneath it real quick, because shit's falling sometimes. Yeah. Bought it for $1. Like, if someone stops you in a back alley and sells you something for $1,
do you guys have
don't buy it.
The car meme that he also made that's like they bought a car for $1?
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one, too.
Thank you.
I've got that. Yes, I do. But first, I've got to share. Let me add this to the stage, because This was just freaking incredible. Okay, let me see if I can get that again. There we go. I'm going to play this. Let's see if this is working right.
Beautiful day out on the bay, folks. We're sitting out here. We're not really catching many fish, but we're having a good time. And we start looking at the condition of this bridge, and we start looking on these pilings, and we start seeing rivets laying all over the place. Like, what do those belong to? Well, you look up, pretty sure it belongs to that. Pretty sure they came out of a bunch of these. And then here's our favorite spot. Hang on, just go over there. Right there. This is a functioning, and I use the term functioning very loosely. This is a bridge that is used. Goes all the way from yonder.
Our state has so much money. This is unacceptable.
All the way to the other side of the, you can see where it's open, allow passage of vessels. Other side of that. Like one day, someone's going to be under here when it gives way.
Wow.
Like that stuff's not put in there for looks. Like they didn't like, let's do some lattice work on it, make it look beautiful. And they'll be like, don't worry about structure. No, like that's functioning shit, man. Like that stuff's in there so it doesn't collapse.
Yeah, they normally engineer things so they'll be about 30% stronger than they actually need to be, but about 50% of that bridge is missing, which means now so the 30% is gone and the extra 20% is about to drop on your head.
Yeah, 30% and 50%. Yeah.
And they only paid $1 for it and spent $28 million to get it to that condition. Right
28 million and 75 million to decommission it. It'll be 75 million to decommission it. You know what? Just here's what you do. You set up a scrap metal buying yard somewhere near that bridge. Tweakers will have that thing disassembled in a weekend. Just buy it for 50 cents a pound. Tweakers will be loading stuff up in their shopping carts. That bridge will be gone by Monday.
Yep. It'd be gone.
You know, we've made our government untenable. It's $75 $75 million to decommission it. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's completely unsustainable.
Yeah,
like we're at the cliff. I think we're over the cliff and stuff is just starting to not work anymore. Things are starting to fall apart. And when you look at the Oregon state budget, you have to really wonder what they're spending the money on.
Yeah. Well, you were right about this, Brandi. This meme that Rob did here, that is educational. It's so freaking hilarious. It's so astute. It's so apt to the point.
Well, it's relatable too.
And it's so relatable because you're looking at it going, this is literally, and it's only going to be $28 million and we'll almost get it running.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we all know someone too who's like, listen, I've invested this money. I've got this fixer upper, and it doesn't matter what the fixer upper is. Like it could be an RV or a car or a house, or like they bought a boat, right? They got this thing for cheap, and all they need to do is all of this labor that they don't know how to do. Yep. They don't have the skill set to actually fix it. And so the thing sits in their front yard and rots. And in Coos County, it's usually people who have like 5 vehicles right in their front yards.
Oh, usually about a 6. You have to have a 6-pack. I mean, some people go for the baker's dozen, but it seems like on some roads I drive, I'm like going, so when you get to the 6th car that you're refurbishing, when do you say, I'm not doing any of that? So,
So what's and I love how they said it's going to cost another 75 million. It'll cost another 75 million just to remove this bridge. And I'm thinking
that's crazy.
How can it cost $75 million to remove this bridge?
It's $1 million for the demolition charges, and it's $74 million to go into the slush fund that feeds the politicians to buy the.
You know, there's going to be a couple million you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay a firm, an advisement firm too. We'll say, okay, well, we can do this, we can do that. Then you're going to have the eco people end of it. So I can see them accruing $75 million worth of charges. So you take that 75, you take the 28 they've put into it. That is over $1/10 billion that would have to, by the time this whole experiment's been done and wrapped up and she's over, that'll be $1/10 billion freaking dollars. But
Yep.
we can't man the jails. We can't open up enough pods.
Right?
And who the hell thought the rail line was going to bring jobs?
Peter DeFazio, they were convinced that the Maersk intermodal cargo container plant back in the 2000s was going to be coming in. And so they bought this bridge because at the time, I believe the railroad was somewhat running. There were a couple of businesses that were functioning. And in 2012, I think it was 2008, sometime in that period, Peter DeFazio said, wouldn't it be great if the port owned a bridge? And I think they spent $12 million. I mean, not a bridge, the railroad. So they spent $12 million on the railroad. So now they own the railroad and they own the bridge, which they got for $1. See, they got it for $1. And I guess they had to spend $12 million for the railroad. That was the deal. But now they're going to have rails to trails where you're going to be able to have meth heads go from Coquille all the way to Coos Bay with their meth, their shopping carts, their tents. It's going to be a whole great.
That's the most West Coast thing I've ever heard. And then we can have like a quinoa station on the end, and then we can grow kale. We can have organic, non-GMO kale along the way, and we can have IPA beer, and we can do it. And people will come from all over and pay dollars sometimes. And then we have cyclists and spandex. Remember that multi-million-dollar freaking bicycle trail they put out between here and Bandon? That like nobody talks about, nobody does anything. Like that was good. That's going to bring tourism.
Do use it. They do.
But the 500 people a year, the 500 spandex mafia people a year that come out here, they're drinking water from water fountains. They're refilling their water bottles. They're not eating. They're not, they're maybe some kale chips or something like that. That is not the people we need to bring to this area. This area wants to posit itself as something grander than it is. Like, oh, we could be like a little Portland. No, this is a redneck working town, used to be working town. It is blue collar. This is a place of the people, by the people, for the people. This is not an elitist place. People come here to fish. They come here to hunt. They come here to do outdoor stuff that does not involve grown men wearing spandex.
I think they're not the ones coming in that I necessarily worry about. I think they keep the trails clean, but that's a fair.
No, but I mean, how much money is my phone's dying? I got to plug it in here. But how much financials are they bringing in? I don't think it'd be that much.
I think it's a good amount. Yeah.
Well,
I think it is a good
amount. See the numbers on that, but the thing is that's not what's going to happen with this rails to trails. There's no way you can have the justice system or the lack thereof in Coos County with no law enforcement, no one going to jail, no one being punished, and people already to be allowed to destroy public and private property at will. They can't even keep John Toppus
Park safe.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't even keep the parks safe that are in our cities, don't create more spaces for people to make unsafe.
Yeah.
Focus on fixing what we already have. And I would agree with that.
They used to have like those little things you could sit in and like pedal down the railroad tracks. So maybe that'll be the new mode of transportation to get from Coquille to places east like Eugene. It'll be all pedal rail.
Could you imagine the tweakers just like pedaling away?
Stealing the cars, yeah.
I know, right?
So this is another bad idea. And I really, I agree with you, Rob, if for one thing, it was allowed to happen, if they allowed industry to come in, and they're never going to allow industry to come in. I think it would be great to put a nuclear plant right there in the North Spit. I don't really give a shit. They're never going to do it. They're never going to do it. So what you gotta do is you gotta beat them at your own game. What do they do on the North Spit? What do they do out there that you can somehow enhance and incorporate into some kind of business? Because the port doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They need to sell all of that land to private industry who can use it for RV parks or whatever. but a way to keep the bums from going in there, whatever it takes.
Well,
Yeah,
government should not be controlling the means of production, period. Like,
No, government has
can
no
we go
business.
back to the right? Exactly. Like, the government shouldn't be in charge of things like housing and food production. And, like, they shouldn't be owning these industries. And we've known this
Yep.
for decades.
Government has no business being in business. And that's what frustrates me. Now that
Because
old
they're-
GP property, does the port own that GP property now? That old Georgia Pacific facility? Did they buy that for this intermodal thing?
I have no idea. I thought they got the DB Western site for the intermodal thing.
Okay. But I know there was a rush on the port buying up properties a number of years ago. They were taking up anything they could. Anybody that was looking at selling something that was anywhere near port property, they were policing it up. And Rob, you made a comment at one point that on your show that I loved, and I blasted it out on my show this week. Like I said, even if you don't like Rob's politics, you've got to, which I love, by the way, you've got to listen to this episode because he hits on so many points. And I don't think they have an idea of how much property they own and why do they own it all. Why?
And some of them do, and they do have motives for it because they know so this is the dirty secret in Oregon. Property is exchanged for political favors. And that happens on a regular basis. You will see people exchanging property, nonprofits, non-governmental organization. This goes on with the Republicans. It goes on with the Democrats. It's part of the old boys club. It's part of how they pay each other off.
Are you talking about you'll do this thing with the property, so we're going to give it to you real nice and cheap?
Yeah. And other things. Marty, could you elaborate?
Well, I mean, we had one example down in Kuhrt County where our favorite senator, basically one of his big benefactors and donors got a huge chunk of land that was going to be, I don't know what they called it. It was going to be like a police and terrorist training center. And it was going to have, all this land and all these gun ranges and all these things so they could do all these exercises and be a training base for that type of thing. When actually all it was we're going to swap a whole bunch of land that can now be turned into money that can go into the party that can be, that will come from somebody that's not a donor. So it's basically a way of hiding money by doing land swaps.
Gotcha. So you're not talking about the situations where like the city will sell a lot to a developer for $1 to get the developer to build an apartment building on it. You're talking about things that are a little bit more not for public interest.
Well, yeah. I mean, and in this case, there was also, similar to the Leering centers, there was the Curry County child, what was it called? The Coos County Children Development something or other that was in a store down in Gold Beach. And we went and checked out the facility and it was just, the windows were boarded up from the inside. They had cardboard over the windows. They had no signage whatsoever. There was a working power meter, but we could not see that there was any indication this is where the Coos County or the Curry County Children Health Network was actually located. But
interesting.
DBS was getting paid $40,000+ a year to be part of the board for this thing, and they had a website, and it was like,
did you guys ever? Sorry, I'll let you finish. I'm very interested. Sorry. No, finish your story.
No, but it was like
I'm asking questions where you haven't given all the details.
Yeah, but we basically like tracked down all these other things that were going on, and and it was just like a lot of them led to dead ends, and a lot of them led to this money went to that thing, and then it went there, and then it went to DBS's mom, and then they bought this thing and turned it into a coffee shop, and so forth and so on. But it's similar. It's not like the city has a plot of land and they're going, well, we can't do anything with it. A developer wants to use this for an apartment complex. We'll sell it to him for cheap, or we'll give him like some sort of tax dive where we won't charge them taxes for the first 10 years. That I think is okay. I think that might be a good idea. But as far as we're using this land swap so that we can cover how we're like pushing a buttload of money from one person to another through various corporations that then gets turned around and goes into like,
Okay.
you know, some sort of smurfing thing where it's like, and now all of a sudden there's like, I looked at some of the smurfing stuff in Coos County, and we've got people that have made, you know, tens of thousands of dollars of donations, but they were like $13, $14 at a time. And I'm like, who in their right mind is making 1,000 donations of $13 over a year in Coos County? I mean, we're not people that are running around with $100 bills hanging out of our pockets. But you can look up the, you know, the Act Blue stuff. You can look up the smurfing stuff. And then you can start tying it to the EINs for all these NGOs. And it just turns into this huge spider web of, wow, I am really PO'd. Not because they're ripping us off. I'm PO'd because I didn't think of this, and I couldn't figure out a way to steal $20 million to give to myself.
And
Darn
a
it.
lot of this is perfectly legal. That's the thing,
Oh, yeah.
is that there's nothing illegal about it except
Because there's no accountability.
right. There's no accountability for it, but it's based on them in their position doing this that becomes the problem, because how is that affecting their vote when they get into the legislature? And there are some times where you can show direct benefits between the way they voted and who profited as far as the contributors that were giving to them. And you can see that for certain different bills, but it's still hard to pinpoint. Did they vote for it, an unusual vote because they were bought off, or was this just something that, you know, they really truly believed? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so it's hard
well,
to pin down that stuff. But
yeah, and we never find any canceled checks that say, here's $10,000 for your yes vote on SB 12345.
Never.
So,
and I
Well, and they
looked.
never, you guys, they never really step up and explain themselves either.
oh,
Right.
and when we ask them questions, they get people thrown off the air and they get their businesses shut
They
down.
don't,
So,
yeah.
I know
I've
that
always
guy.
been a
I know that guy.
I know that guy. I know that guy.
So,
You know,
yeah.
they're- when you are in a position as a public servant, you have to answer questions. Excuse me.
No, you don't.
You can't.
No, you don't.
I mean, you
You're
kind of
supposed
do
to.
though. Like
But you don't. You don't. No, you don't. You absolutely do not.
I mean, there's no consequences if you don't. But it's like the
Yeah.
expectation is there. You know, if you're living your daily life and someone is like criticizing you for how much you pay in a car payment, well, like FO, I pay my own bills, I make my own living, like it's none of your business. But if you're in a public position and suddenly you have all of this extra money, or you get paid for all these extra speaking engagements, or you get this money from this donor that has an interest in this thing that will have a negative impact on our community, we have a right to demand that those people explain themselves to us. You know what I mean? It's not, they shouldn't act indignant like, well, you don't have a right to question me. Like, no, I have an obligation to question you, actually.
Yeah.
So they don't feel that way, most of them, and that's the
Well,
sad
I mean,
part.
and this sort
It's
of
just,
circles
you
back
know,
around to people that are, I mean, if they really truly were being elected, and if we truly did have clean elections, then they would have to actually answer our questions, and they would have to listen to our complaints, because they would worry about being reelected when they pretty much know that no matter what they do, they're going to have that job so long as they toe the party line, whatever party that is. Then they don't have to answer your stupid questions, because they're not
Right.
accountable to you. They're accountable to somebody else, and it's not us.
right.
And the sad part is, Brandi, is that what you just said is what most people believe. And I hear people look at me and tell me that, well, they have to answer us. No, they don't.
They
And
don't.
if
I
they
mean, there's
do, they
no
can
there's no
lie. There's no law
consequences,
against
right?
it. Yeah,
They can just whatever
whatever. And they're
and
good at
ignore
it.
you. And they have
And
gotten away with it. I mean, to the tune of like hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars that have just evaporated. It's insane.
Yeah.
look at the young guy, Nick Shirley, who he's 23 years old, has no real journalism experience, wasn't trained and polished by by mainstream media. No, this is a guy who has a phone and a camera, and he's out there getting stories. He was here in Portland. When we were up there in Portland, he was there at the same time with all the others that were waiting for the National Guard to come in, and he got the story of the year, which many of us already suspected, but he proved, he made it a bona fide story by going to those daycare centers and showing that the Leering Center was just not really what it was supposed to be. And I always wondered what it'd be like to go to a Leering Center.
I have a quick story for you guys. So I'm not going to I'm not going to give details, but I worked with a person who was within a state organization that managed wildlife management funds. This person was responsible for doling out about a $44 million budget to wildlife habitat development. When this individual came into their position, they discovered that basically all of these fish habitat centers had not been visited in months. The offices had not been used. There was dust. They weren't doing the work, basically. Right. And it was a really rough time for the individual coming in because he was personally targeted and the F word got thrown around but never explicitly said.
Yeah.
And I want to say the individual ended up resigning after we worked together sometime afterwards, but it was basically I was helping him negotiate a very contentious, conflict-ridden situation where he was saying, if you guys don't give me the documentation that you're actually doing the work, I'm not going to give you the money. And they were saying, if you don't give us the money, we're going to make your personal life very unpleasant. So that's a real thing. It's everywhere. It's a real problem. Basically all the rumors are true. All of the money that we think our government is stealing, they for sure are. They for sure are.
And
it's
more.
Just a matter of,
we don't even know.
Yes. It's just a matter of catching them.
Yeah, we're only at the tip of the iceberg.
I would like to address, to Sir Doug of Basin's question to me that he asked me, what is it about you that makes you conservative? I actually have spent the last several days, I thought about that question. I'm like, what does make me conservative? Because I've been branded. And I was talking to my husband about it. And I'm like, what is it about me that makes me such a conservative? And I think I nailed it. I hate the government probably more than anyone you will ever meet. My contempt for the state is truly infinite. I mean, the degree to which they have stolen from all of us and made us think it's just us not doing a good enough job. I thoroughly would like to dismantle and rebuild the system from the inside. So I don't know if that is a good answer or makes me conservative.
You have me really enjoying that answer. I like that answer, but explain this. What are you going to, when you say rebuild it, what is the image in which you want to rebuild that government?
In probably accountability, agency, and autonomy. Legislation that's built on those three foundations, encouraging and supporting those three foundational traits within our society. Then I'm libertarian. You know what? I've toyed around with that and I don't want to get into it. I'm a libertarian until I need a jar opened for me, okay?
See, I love our system of government. I love the way it was designed. I love the way it's created. I just don't like a lot of the actors that are in it now. And I don't know how to go back to what it was, where people were patriots and they love the nation and they love their families. And it's all about self-interest now.
We can start with the constitutional amendments that have allowed our judges and Congress to dodge legal responsibility for the decisions they've made.
Exactly.
We could do a lot of good by making it so that these people who put egregious violators back out on the streets can actually be held responsible for their decision. That would be a good start.
Well,
what is it? The 14th Amendment? No. Which amendment is that? 28th Amendment? Which one gives Congress immunity? It gives judges immunity too.
It'd have to be I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that one, but what I'm pretty certain of is that we have the right infrastructure. I mean, 1776 was essentially the right infrastructure. We got a constitution. Back then, you weren't getting paid to be a congressman or a representative, and it
Yeah.
was the whole idea was if you start paying these people, then
They're going to want the job, and they're going to
they're
do
going to want to
anything
keep
they can
doing that
do to
job.
get the job.
You
Right.
never hear the term public servant used anymore. They have
Exactly.
taken that out of the lexicon. They've taken it out of their dictionary. The word servant is not there. And things like term limits, things like you say, no monetary compensation. Ilan Omar, the Durkistani there, she went from being worth $65,000 to being worth $30 million in what,
I
one
haven't
term,
been
two
able to
terms?
confirm that. I was able to
Yeah.
confirm that that's a bracket with an upper end of 30 something million,
Yep.
but I have not been able to confirm that that is her actual net worth. But it's
It's
somewhere
Well,
within that
but
bracket.
she
I mean,
used to be.
we know that this happened to a lot of people. I mean, we know with the Pelosi's, what's gone on with them. We know Dan Crenshaw. We know what's going on with him. There's a lot of these guys. And Crenshaw's on quote unquote our side. It happens. It's dirty, and that all needs to stop. It
It's
has to be done for love of country.
suspicious.
Imagine serving this nation as a politician and not getting compensated for it. Like, just get a stipend. Like, here's a really base amount of money to pay for some of your bills, because you don't want people that are independently wealthy that can. You don't want them necessarily, and you want the common man to be able to be in that position too. But you don't want people getting rich doing it. That's not what it's about. And now it's become that.
Right.
It's become that.
Yeah, they
Well,
get too
it's
much
the
money.
base
They get too much
salaries are
money
not
for
that
being in
high.
government.
Yep.
They get too many. Yeah, no. That depends, Brandi, on which position you're in government. Today, governments in certain positions, they're making higher level salaries than what their compatriots are making in the same
Private sector kind of.
private market. And so this
Yeah,
is
but look at
something
the president. How much does the guy
that
get paid?
is the problem with government now. They want to get in because they're getting these huge severance pays when they retire. They got these big retirement packages where they got guaranteed
Paid for life.
earnings from the market. You know what I mean? That's just crazy
Right.
shit, and it's even if they're not getting compensated to what it is in the private market, they're still making enough off of these retirement packages and the
It's
other
the other
benefits.
stuff.
Yeah,
the
it's
other
like they get
stuff.
this too much, and we
Yeah.
can't be paying for the people who are working today, the people who used to work yesterday, and the people who worked the day before, because we're living so long now that we're paying for like
Yeah.
two generations of workers,
Right.
and that's why we can't afford today's workers. Is part of
Yeah.
the good reason.
Good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've looked into whether or not if I'm elected commissioner, I can opt out of PERS.
yeah.
And from what I understand to this point, I cannot. I have
Yeah.
to participate in
and
that.
I-
I'm going to look into it and push it because I don't want to. I don't want any, you know what I mean? Like,
I want to see if I can get my financial advisor to put all my money into PERS, because PERS is guaranteed a certain amount of return on investment. And if the people that are managing PERS, and the people that are managing PERS really suck at it, by the way, and they're not getting their return on investment because it's taxpayer based. So if they don't make their 3 to 5 or whatever % per year in increase over whatever the number is supposed to be, then the taxpayers have to make up the difference. And I'm like going,
that's exactly why I don't want to participate in it.
But
It's
I wanna-
disgusting.
I want my investment guy to be able to have that where it's like, it doesn't matter if it's a down year or not. Somebody's going to cover it, and it's not going to be you. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. Because I'm a
I just want to know. I just want to know what the Pelosi's are investing in when they're
Right?
investing. That's all I want to know.
Right?
That's
There's actually there's a website you can go to that's called the
Yeah.
yeah, and basically it'll show you like which congressperson is investing in what for what reason. And so if you follow the Pelosi portfolio, you're better than the S&P 500. You're
Right.
better than some of the best funds in the nation. And it's like, because they know exactly what bills are going to pass long before they pass
course.
them. So you can start buying stuff, or you can start shorting things. And
They're
you
going to know which industries they're allowing to
Gonna be affected,
proliferate
yeah.
through
Yeah.
through subsidies or restrictions.
Yeah.
So Marty, it's 8%. It was just 8% a couple of years ago, and then they chopped it down to, I can't remember, it was 6.7 or 6.3, but they get a guaranteed percentage return, which nobody else ever gets a guaranteed return. I mean, you know,
Right.
it's like those wind farm companies who got there's no liability in losing money and owning a wind farm in the middle of the ocean.
Right?
If you put in a wind farm, that's okay. You'll never lose your investment. And I'm like,
Never.
I've tried so hard to make because you know me and my husband have rebuilt our house and whatnot, and I've tried so hard. I want to get off grid or become as energy independent as possible. So I've been looking at all of the options, and it looks like we're going to hook up a propane generator. But for solar, I was going over and just looking at any way that I could make the numbers make sense, that I could make the ROI satisfying. I couldn't
Yeah.
do it, dude. You can't get enough kilowatts per dollar invested to make it worth the amount of money where you're going to get it before your equipment becomes obsolete.
yeah.
I mean, we're
I mean,
like
I had-
15 to 17 years out where
I had
like you'd have to.
32 Yeah, I had 32 solar panels on my house, and I had a battery backup array, and I had an inverter, but the ROI on that, and I got a big discount because I got a federal subsidy, a state subsidy to help me pay for the solar panels and all that installation stuff. And I had it for 20 years because that's how long I had the house. And I found out I broke even on it at year 18.
Whoa.
And I was, and
That's
I
what
was
my math
paying-
has been. Year
Now,
17.
Is
And I
part
was
of that
thinking-
just because we don't have as much sun as like in the South? Because I
No.
before I moved here, I was toying around with the
Well,
idea, but we have
yes.
sun 360 days a year. You know, you leave a garden hose out for more than 5 minutes full of water. When you turn it on, you'll kill whatever that water touches. You know, there's so much energy, heat energy, and radiant energy, and ultraviolet energy, and so I kind of wonder if
It is. That is a fact.
It was
Because
most-
what you can get kilowatt per hour, yes, it is limited, and our daylight hours are limited. So yes, that is a limiting factor.
And it was part of it was this is when I was in Oakland, California. So, but we got a little bit more sunshine there, and I was up above the fog line, so I got sunshine when
Okay.
San Francisco and the city of Oakland didn't. But the problem is that we were generating 2.2 kilowatts, but that's at peak. And of course, we're not doing anything at night. Actually, we generated power in full moonlight, by the way, but that's a weird thing.
fascinating.
And it doesn't care what kind of light it is. I mean, if you can get a whole bunch of your neighbors showing up with flashlights, they could help you out. But
Yep.
but the whole thing is it's just if I was paying full freight on those solar panels and paying full freight, because at one point I had to fix the transfer switch. Every couple of years, you got to change out the marine batteries because and it's like it was. At one point, it was nice because PG&E was actually paying me to put power back into the grid until my bill got down to zero. Once my bill got to zero, then everything I gave them after that was free electricity for them, which I thought sucked.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is even doing all the numbers on that, it was like 17 to 18 years, and I came out where it was like, okay, my power bill was $2 a month, but then again, we didn't consume that much power anyway. So what did I save? $150 a month, and it was,
Huh.
it's just,
Yeah,
but I
and
feel
if
cool because I had
too
solar
much.
panels.
It's too much. I got to go back to Ashley from Roseburg's comment. And Ashley, hello, glad to see you in Roseburg. She says, Roseburg city manager, and this is not unusual. This is about what they make here in the city of Bandon, and I think this is about what they make. What's his name makes in North
Mill
Bend.
Iron.
Mill Iron, yeah. Roseburg city manager is nearly $200,000 a year plus benefits and doesn't live within city limits. And I think that is way too much money for a city manager.
That's a lot.
I don't think they should be doing enough work that they should
That's
be
a
getting
high
$200,000. That's really high, but that's what they make in Bandon. I think he makes she makes. Is it a he or she? I can't remember. It's been a while. They've changed a couple of times, and yeah, it's $180,000. I think was what the last time I saw. I'm pretty sure. And Mill Iron is making what, about $180,000 too. It's ridiculous.
Why are they? Why? I mean, the commissioners are like 74 or something like that, which is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Why is a city manager? Because that's a lot, especially
That's a
for
lot.
our area.
That's a
why
lot.
is it so high?
If you're making 200 grand a year and you work 2,000 hours a year, that's 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. That means you're getting paid $100 an hour to be a city manager. That's a ridiculous amount of money.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
We have all of this, city manager is obviously a very well-paid position. What is their responsibility? Like if shit goes wrong, because from what I've seen, the mayors catch all the flack, the city councilors catch all the flack. I
That's
don't
by
see the city
design.
manager taking commensurate responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're the one collecting that kind of paycheck, you should be the one taking all the heat.
Is there some
Like,
kind of qualified immunity, or is it just something that it just doesn't trickle down to them?
I don't know.
It's
It
by
just seems
design.
weird that
No, let me explain this to you. It's politicians play a game. This is the game they've got. They're the shield, and they're the shield against the bureaucrats, the deep state behind the real facade, and that's the city council. And most of the city councils, you can go in, and if you had talked to the city manager before any vote that any city council has ever made, you can pretty much guess what the city council is going to vote just by talking to the city manager 10 minutes before going into any city council meeting, and maybe 24 hours up to that point. And so if you know this, you know that the city manager really makes all the decisions in any municipality. And that's how it works here in Bandon. That's how it works in North Bend. They don't do anything unless Mill Iron okays it. And so for that return, if they've got a good city administrator that makes them look good, they're going to protect them really good. They're going to protect them as much as they can. And that's why they do that for Mill Iron. And that's why you see them playing this game where they shield him and he gets none of the retribution for any mistakes that might occur. And of course, right now, he hasn't done any mistakes because they're selling what he's doing as a good thing, which he's running up the debt for the citizens of North Bend.
People don't like him. And I don't mean that to be like, I don't mean to be a snot and like, be gossipy, but
it doesn't
people
matter
really
because
don't have like, I don't understand the long game because people do not like people in positions of power don't have good things to say about him. And so I don't get how
personality doesn't
why
matter.
are they
It's
shielding
about
him?
results. It's all about results, Brandi. This man.
Oh, so he's
brought
getting them
in-
what they want. Oh, it's
He
like the
gave.
Lee
Let me
Johnson
explain to you the difference,
situation.
Brandi. Let me explain to you the difference. And as a county commissioner, if you become a county commissioner, you may want to go to David Mill Iron and ask him about his successes on getting the grants that he gets from different places. And he's
Absolutely.
got, I believe, $19 million in grants compared to the $4 or $5 million. And I think, actually, no, it was like $1 or $2 million that they got in Coos Bay. Now you look at that difference, $1 to $2 million compared to the $19 million that David Mill Iron got. Why do you think they're protecting him?
Sure, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, play devil's advocate here. If you have a good employee and that employee brings you value and you make money from that employee being in your employ, you pay them more. I mean,
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
No, I mean, you can't really say it is.
The guy who's sitting in the other cities, like in North Bend, I think it's Nicole Rutherford. If she's not bringing in as much as David Mill Iron, I guarantee you, though, she makes just as much. And you know why that is? They've got a state law that says you have to pay your city manager equivalent to what other city managers are making across the state.
There's a state law for that?
I believe so. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
There might be, yeah. But
Can't we just get some H-1B visa people to fill those slots? I mean, they can.
I'm for the HB1. Yes, I'm all for that. There we go. Bring them in. I will talk to the Indian person.
Welcome to our council meeting. May I talk to you about your car's extended warranty? Have a nice day.
This is not a reading library. Put the magazine down or I'll have to blow your heads off. But anyway. No, I mean, it's like, why are we paying that much? I mean, if we can farm everything else out, why can't we just farm that out? It's like, we don't need a city manager for 200 grand. I can get some guy from Uzbekistan to do it for 20 grand.
Well, it's kind of thinking about like merit and who deserves what, and I'm all
So
for like get your bag, you know what I mean? But don't I mean if you're okay, so he's doing the work that gets the results. But like
no, no,
don't
no,
all
no, no, no. I
employees
didn't
like
say
isn't that
that.
your
Hold
job?
on. No, 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 Brandy. I did not
Okay,
say
clarify. Go ahead,
he's
clarify.
doing the work that gets the results. No, I said he's bringing in more money than they are bringing in Coos Bay. And for the city, that's a good thing. As a taxpayer, not so good because a lot of that grant goes to the bullshit that he spends our money on. Number one. Number two, a lot of
That
that
pulls
money
us
comes
deeper
with
into debt.
strings where it comes with a lot of wokeness and DEI. Like one that you have to
Oh,
have businesses sign away loyalty oaths saying that they will not be racist or anti-woke, or they've got
it's
grants that are
worse.
only going to minorities, and that's under urban renewal.
So
Yeah.
yes, so there was a one that went through, it was for a roofing project, and it
Yep.
explicitly said preference given to minority businesses.
Yep.
That is a federal violation.
Yep.
That's a federal civil rights violation. And
Oh, yeah.
100% I have like looked into it. And granted, I'm not a lawyer, but anybody can access case law and our, civil rights. For sure, that's a civil rights violation. For sure, there could be a class action lawsuit against our state and federal government. Like 100%, it like the case precedent is on the table. It's only going to take a group of people who have the money and desire to sue. But that is what they did is illegal. It's a civil rights violation. And if the city were to get sued, they'd lose.
Yeah.
And I hope every person who sees this thinks really hard about their role in violating civil rights. And I'll leave that at that.
So that's what we're living with. And tomorrow there's a tax strike rally, and everyone is invited. This tax strike, this is really cool. You're going to love this. It's being put on by Dan Tooze. Dan Tooze is one of the former leaders. I'm not sure if he's the former leader, if he's still leading on the Proud Boys, but he's one of the leaders of the Proud Boys. Really cool group. And he's going to have a lot of speakers there. And I recommend that if people have a chance to go, they should go to this event because this happens at noon. So you could be watching this show, still be drinking, maybe catch a little bit of buzz, watch a movie afterwards at midnight, and you could still get up at 6 a.m. and make it to Salem by noon. Just to let everyone know. So there's no excuses. If you're a little tipsy tonight, you can sober up and get up in the morning and take a nice long trip to the tax strike rally. Now, I'm not going because I got family things going on. So
yeah, if I'm drinking until 2 and waking up at 6, I'm still hungover. I'm not driving.
Yeah. Maybe not Marty.
Maybe not me. Plus, I'm not in Oregon at the moment anyway, so that's a heck of a long drive for me.
Well, this ought to be pretty cool because they got what's his name is they got Bruce Starr heading in there, and they've got a couple of other. I think Ed Deal is going to be there. Angela Todd is going to be there. One of my favorite people, wonderful girl. She's going to be speaking at this event, and so I highly recommend everyone to show up and see what's going on. I'm promoting friends. What can I tell you?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. So what's going on in the fishing world, Rob?
Well,
Doug, I mean,
license fees have gone up some 28% this year. You know, it went from a sports pack from $196 to $253. And I mean, $253 is still a deal. Like, it's still a deal. It's still, man, I can get an elk, I can get a deer, I can fish, I can do all those great things. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. You know, we spend a lot of money on a lot more things that are unnecessary and frivolous. But the issue is that they are increasing the fees by some 28%, and it'll be something like a 50 to 80% increase over the next 5 years. But this fee increase goes up, but our retention of fish goes down because of poor, I'd say, management, but they don't manage anything. They just crunch numbers, and we're paying more and getting less. And that's kind of the issue as I see it. I understand there's inflation. I understand costs of goods goes up. I understand all of that. But just like the port is in a real big fiscal problem right now, I think the entire state of, we know the entire state of Oregon is. That includes ODFW. So what do? You run a business. Sorry, guys. There's those of you that aren't pulling your weight. We're going to let you go. Okay, we got a fleet of vehicles. Let's liquidate those. Let's streamline some things. Let's run it like a business, and let's get rid of the parts we don't need. And they don't do that. They have this model of rockfish being so depleted, and there's not that many. When I moved here, you can keep 7. A scant 3 years before that, you could keep 10. Now we're down to 4 starting this year. Last year we were 3. So it went from 10 to 3 in a matter of about 15 years. The hook and line fishermen, the guys that are going out in their boats, the sport fleet, cannot put that much damage on fish to make those numbers go down that much. And they're inherently flawed. Their scientific method is not even inherently flawed. It is abjectly flawed.
No,
they run GoPro cameras on a I guess they have better cameras now, but it was a weighted PVC contraption with GoPro cameras put on it, and they would drop it down in the middle of the day and go and see how many rockfish are down there. And then they would extrapolate those numbers. And then they have fish checkers that will ask you when you come to the dock how many fish you got, which those numbers mean nothing because there's a bunch of people that don't know how to catch fish. So, and then there's bad days. So I had a few days this week where I went out and man, I struggled catching fish. I struggled, but I'm stubborn. I don't know how to stop. I get mission oriented, whether it's catch a fish or do whatever. And I just go and go and go. And the love of my life and I went out for New Year's. We caught, I literally caught the last sport fish in the continental United States for 2025. I mean, it was 5 seconds to midnight and I was pulling it out of the water. And then the love of my life caught the first one for 2026 for the West Coast, allowing for the time change from east to west. And we're out there. There were so many fish that for hours, every cast is a fish. So I'm out there for 3 days. Can't catch a fish, right? It's daytime. That's when the ODFW runs their equipment down. Oh, there's no fish down here. Talk to these guys. They're not catching. I guess there's no fish. I have video of my fish finder that goes from like a white screen to just yellow because there's so many fish in there. We were watching fish come up at the surface around us. We could see 5, 10, 20, 30 fish at a time. We'd reel one in. There'd be 3 or 4 following it. I'd put 2 hooks on my line just for funsies. I'd hook 2 fish at once. There'd be more following it. It was insane. And it's always like that at night. Varying, conditions and stuff. So they have this scientific methodology of, well, let's go out on really good weather days when it's really bright and the fish have been feeding at night because it's been a really clear moonlit night, and then they're not doing it in the day and they go dormant. Where do they go? I don't know. I don't know where the hell they are on the day. I don't see them on my fish finder. I can't see them on any of my electronics. I can run cameras down. I don't see them. But as soon as it gets dark, boom, that bay is filled. And if that bay is filled, that ocean's filled. And they just don't want to do it any way other than their way. So they gather data using an erroneous system that falsely penalizes people that go out and feed themselves. And I hate the term sport fishing. It's not, and I use it myself. That's sport. I'm a sustenance fisherman. If I couldn't keep them, I wouldn't want anything to do with them. I like raping and pillaging nature, not to a point where I'm going to, destroy it, but by golly, I want to come home with my bucket of mushrooms. If I go to the woods tomorrow, I'm either coming home with a load of firewood or a bucket of mushrooms or a couple dead grouse or something.
It's utilizing, you participating in the food chain like the animal you are.
Yes.
You're a part of the food chain.
Yep. Yeah. And we're consumptive users. We're not sports. And I use the term recreational fishermen, I guess, because it's a good delineator to separate us from commercial fishermen so people understand what I'm talking about. But they are flawed. They are so flawed. And it's frustrating. And I don't want to hate them at times. They gave us a concession. They're letting us keep 3 lingcod from the 2 lingcod we've been allowed to keep for years. Little secret on that is the federal government has been telling Oregon for the past 10 years, your people can keep 3 lingcod if you want. It's no big deal. There's so many out there, but Oregon hasn't done that. Whether it's because they're worried about bycatch or they just don't want to deal with it because it means more work and more numbers. I don't know. But this year they say we can do 3 lingcod. That makes me happy. At the public meetings, I told them straight out, tongue in cheek and in a friendly manner. I said, I will hate you so much less if you let us keep 3 lingcod next year, as when they proposed that possibility. And they did that. So that's a cool thing. There's more wildlife out here. There's more stuff out here, and it's so overregulated. I'm an absolute believer in management and some regulation, but not to the levels that it is right now. If you get lost in the state of Oregon and you're in the woods, don't worry. Just close your eyes, open your mouth, and walk forward, and food will fall into it. There's so damn much.
Yeah.
Okay, I stop.
Or if you're lost in the woods and you don't know how to get out, just try to like bag a squirrel without a license, and then somebody will be there to get you.
Yes.
Right?
So
Yeah.
that the most prolific squirrel species that we have, the Douglas squirrel, there's a gazillion of them. They're in my backyard. They piss me off. I'm in the woods hunting. I'm archery hunting, and every 10 feet, like, shut up, man. You can't hunt them. You can't hunt them because ODFW says the numbers are down. They're a protected species. Oh, I can go on for days.
Well, here's the thing. They will introduce species that aren't predators while telling us the populations are too low to let us hunt more animals for food. But they will bring wolves in, and they will allow cougar populations to double. Like I've had a cougar walking through my front yard, like down my driveway, and I'm where I'm at. It's not like I'm in the country, but it's
when I'm heading to Charleston to go fishing every evening, right along that Empire Drive, there's a bunch of cougars out there. They hanging out. I think they're smoking cigarettes outside the bar, and then they go back in and play the slot machines. But what kind of cougars are we talking about?
Yeah, that's kind of
the ones that kill one deer a week. That kind.
No, and here's my biggest argument. I mean, one, I'm a little bit PO that they're raising the rate so much, but the other one was, you know, they're using the same scientific method that they used to say there is climate change, and I'm like going, you're full of crap, you know. And it's just the whole thing is they can't prove. I mean, where I live down, you know, below, just above lower 4 Mile. You can't walk on the beach there because I might, you know, from March 15th to September 15th, because I might trip over a snowy plover and screw up the whole ecosystem for the whole world. And then the whole world's going to implode because one snowy plover got lost from its mother. And
that's like the kind of crap that annoys me.
The snowy plover. If that should be the state bird because it represents our government so well. I want to know what they taste like. Spotted, yes. Yeah,
I walk the beach from China Creek down to my house sometimes, and with like lower 4 Mile, and there's usually like a snowy plover interpretive dance person and sitting in the car that is like talking to us about snowy plovers. And, you know, and they sit there and they're like going, you know, and we want to warn you about snowy plovers and, you know, don't attack a snowy plover. And, you know, and they're mostly harmless, except when they have semi-automatic whatever. But I was like going, well, you know, I said, well, do you know about snowy plovers? And I said, yeah, I don't really like snowy plovers because it takes 6 to make a Happy Meal. So, and the guy was not
beautiful.
Used at all for some reason.
Have you ever noticed that there's always an excuse to destroy rural industry?
Oh yeah.
There's always, but when it comes to
they're unfriendly. There's no laws that protect people using their property for rural industry. Go ahead, Brandi.
Yeah, there's always an excuse to destroy rural industry, whether it's a spotted owl or it's disrupting, you know, our ability to actually sustainably hunt and collect food because of all of these regulations, introducing unnecessary predators that no one asked for and using our tax dollars to do it while you're charging us more to hunt for less food. It just seems like anytime something happens where the rural people find a way to make money, city folk find a way to ban it because it's you know, unhealthy. However, you ever notice how cities are like the major producers of industrial waste, but there's always an excuse for that. Like, let's be real, the Willamette River is disgusting. Like even the Coquille River that are logging, it's gross.
Yeah.
Like these, so there's always kind of caveats for certain industries that are big enough, that have enough money to lobby for the damage that their industries cause. But when you have these little pocket communities that need things to survive and thrive, the cottage kitchens, you know, that's another good example. Kate Brown it was Tina Kotek who she decided that she would not sign that bill, and she decided that she would allow people to continue to bake bread to sell for each other. It's like anytime rural people have a way to make money and self-sustain, the state and the government has to get involved and like, nope, got to make you more dependent. You can't be
Well,
self-sufficient.
until the industrial age, I mean, we were all rural. America was a nation made up of rural communities, and that's kind of, the natural way of living and being. And people kind of got forced into these cities, and now they're disconnected from our way of life. They're disconnected from American history. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying people in cities are bad, but it is an inherently antithetical way of living and conducting business than it was during the founding of this nation up to what, like
Yeah.
100 years ago or something?
Yeah. Well, look at the housing crisis. Everybody says we need housing. How many men under the age of 40 do you know that are good with a hammer? Because the number is getting smaller and smaller and
Yeah.
smaller. So all these dudes that sit around munching on their soy snacks going, "Oh, we have a housing crisis."
Yeah.
Bitch, go swing a hammer.
Yeah.
Well, and
Try to go
I'm
right.
always of the mindset, prove it. I mean, I hear all these things where it's like,
Well,
we
they
have a housing crisis. And I'm like going, well, show me situations where, we have a housing crisis and that the prices of houses have gone up so
we have a
dramatically. But
crisis
that's
of people who don't want to actually do the physical labor required to have a house to live in.
Well,
That's
and then
it. That's the bums, right? The houseless, the homeless, all these different descriptors they use for these bums everywhere. And then they predicate this narrative of, oh, we have a housing crisis on all these bums living in the freaking woods and on the streets. Those people aren't ever going to live in a house. You could
It's not
build
a
a
housing
million new
crisis.
homes right here. They will destroy them in a weekend. They'll be
Set them
gone.
on
They'll be back
fire.
out in the streets. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, not only that, but then we have so many people that aren't here that were brought in illegally that they're getting free housing. They're getting like, a special loans and special things where it's like, hey, you can come right on in. We'll give you a social security number, and we'll give you a top rate Medicaid, and we'll give you a Medicare, and we'll give you a loan for your house, even though you're not even a legal citizen. And and that's why we have a housing crisis. You take 30 million
Well,
people that aren't supposed to be here
I
away.
disagree. We have a housing crisis because able-bodied males are not doing physical labor anymore. That's why we have a housing crisis. We don't
Well,
have a
there's
housing crisis. We have a manual labor crisis. And it really pisses me off when all these politicians talk about we need to build housing like it's just a money problem. No, it's a physical body problem because who builds houses? It's not women that look like me that weigh 105 pounds. It's grown ass men who build houses. I watched my husband carry an entire piece of plywood, like a whole piece, up a 25-foot ladder and mount it on the side of our house. I would be still living in an RV if it wasn't for him because I'm not doing that. And no woman I know is doing that. And so when we have systematically destroyed masculinity to the point where men don't understand that their role is to be a provider and protector, and women have their role too, but we're not having that conversation right now. So masculinity has been destroyed. That comes into play, but listen, sometimes you do what you can, offer what you can do. You contribute what you can, and some of us can make really good sandwiches.
But you're right. No, the effeminization of the American male is absolutely hideous.
We end up with these men who have not been taught to fulfill a gender role, that we literally need to build houses, because houses don't just get built with taxpayer money. They get built with physical bodies, human beings who go do the work. And go have a conversation with the average 26-year-old dude. He's got the bone density of an 80-year-old white woman. You poke them too hard and they break. So how are we going to fix a housing crisis?
I mean, Brandi, come on. You see I totally agree with you. You see a lot of these guys sitting around doing the computers, doing their games, not getting out, not getting much exercise. But then again, I'm guilty of it myself now at this age. You know what I mean? I don't get out.
That's natural, but that's natural. That's acceptable. That's okay.
I'm not.
I don't mean to be rude, but you're of a certain age where you're not going to be the demographic who we would rely on to be doing the majority. You know what I mean?
Stick and twist. Oh, Rob.
Sorry. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You're gonna make me cry, and that's gonna ruin my
Sorry,
mascara.
guys.
And my
Listen,
man.
I'm not built for physical labor either. I totally get it, you guys.
Old man Taylor's coughing up a lung.
Damn.
Picked a bad day to stop
Sorry,
sniffing
guys.
glue.
Picked a bad day. I know, Marty. I tell you, these kids.
Did
these
you say
days-
it's a bad day to stop sniffing glue? Did I hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it from Airplane? That's beautiful.
So I was watching one of those free streaming services, and what was the name of that show? Married with Children. With Al Bundy came on. And I watched about, 6, 7 episodes, and it was the most funniest damn thing because you could never do that show in today's world whatsoever. I'm surprised they even allow this show to be in replay, the way the show is so politically incorrect. And it's just so damn funny, the stereotypes that they put on people, That was a funny damn show.
Yeah.
My favorite was when Peggy would clean the toaster every now and then, and that little tray in the bottom of the toaster everybody forgets about, then you clean it like when you actually knock the toaster over or something and all the crumbs come out. Well, that was called toaster leavings. And sometimes that's what they'd have for dinner because she wouldn't cook. And the kids would hear Peggy grab the toaster, they'd be like, toaster leavings. And to this day, if I clean up the toaster, I call them toaster leavings.
Yeah. Yep.
Great show.
That was we used to I don't know when that show came on, but man, I remember that was one of the great, if you're going to be around on that night because nothing else was on. We only got 3 channels and they all sucked, but that was a pretty good one that came on.
Yeah.
Are any of you even consider going to this town hall that's being put on by this douchebag Berkeley? I don't know. You're running for commissioner. Are you going, Brandi?
Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't think right now is the most strategic time for me to place myself in a room with Jeff Merkley. Because I'm going to say some stuff, and I feel like I should just wait until the election is over.
Is that who's running this town hall? Is that Merkley? The picture?
I have very strong feelings about Jeff Merkley. Very strong negative feelings about some of the legislation that he's tried to pass.
I've been ratioing that guy on X. Him and what's the guy that looks like a corpse?
Wyden. He looks like he's wearing a skin suit. I think he's sick, but I mean,
well, mentally and physically, yeah.
He looks like the preacher from Poltergeist. I was living in your house, Carol Ann. It's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll.
Oh man, talk about all the Act Blue money that guy's getting.
But look at this flyer. This is what caught my eye. That looks like one of our flyers. This looks like a Turning Point, Coos County Turning Point USA event happening here. Doesn't it look like All American? And he's not All American at all.
So Merkley's name is not on this anywhere. Just his picture.
There is. Yeah. It took me a while to find it. It's down in the lower right-hand corner where it says Allison Burke. It says, so if you want contacts or accommodations, contact Allison Burke at Merkley.
Okay. It must go with it.
Even he doesn't like to recognize himself or be associated.
Okay, so this is the guy, just to be very clear about what this man has done. He's tried twice to write into federal law that men be able to identify legally. So this would be federal law that men can just identify into women's locker rooms. So a dude with a fully intact, can I just say, we're on Friday Night Rant, a full cock and balls walks into a public pool locker room with a little 8-year-old girl and her mommy's putting her into her bathing suit, and dude with exposed cock and balls can just shave his beard hair. Like, that's wrong. And I'm a pretty liberal person. It's not right. And this is a dude who is so far removed from the fact that we need to protect women and children from perverted men. Period. Full stop. I don't care about men's feelings. It is not a woman's responsibility to be a rehab center for mentally ill men. Not our
Nope.
circus, not our monkey. Stop making it our problem. Stop sending them into our changing rooms where we're naked. We have enough problems. Thank you. So, Jeff Merkley, you are a dude who wants to send swinging penis males into female locker rooms, public pool locker rooms, where little girls are getting put into their bathing suits. So, no, I'm not going to go to the town hall, because hand me a microphone and I will say all of these things louder. But I'm debating on, like, I don't want to come out of the gate too hot and, like, you know what I mean? I'd come off as like that woman who is, or that, I shouldn't say woman, doesn't matter. That person who is, you know, like over the top, you know, like just contentious for no reason. I want people to like take my energy seriously and not think that I'm petty or that I'm trustworthy with power. And I don't think telling Jeff Merkley that I think he is a pervert with a microphone in my hand is going to be like, I'll wait until now.
You
I
know
don't
what his
know. What do you
problem
guys-
is?
what do you guys
You know what
think?
his problem is? I'll tell you what his problem is. He ain't got no cock and balls. That's his
Yeah.
problem.
Oh, geez.
That's one of
I'm
his
just so
problems. And the other one
disgusted
is
with him.
He was
Twice.
installed by the people that think this is okay. And so he thinks it's okay
Yep.
because that's what worked to get him his position of power.
It's just so disgusting. I'm disgusted by
disgusting.
men who don't have the basic sense to protect women and children.
Yeah. I mean,
That's like-
grow a spine and use it. I mean, the biggest problem with a lot of this stuff is you kind of have to meter it. I mean, if you come out and, you know, in this town hall and yell at the guy, you know, basically it's going to be like somebody's keeping score somewhere that eventually they're going to flip the idiot bit and they're going to go, well, this is just a harpy that like screams at people all the time. So
Right.
you gotta kind of meter it, because there are a lot of fights that you can fight and win
Right.
with a well measured and well spoken thing. But, you know, going after an obviously corrupt, you know, probably pedophile, you know, probably inverted dick kind of, you know, senator jackass
It's
that
so
got
disgusting.
installed, that, you know,
Just
it's a
the
waste of time.
reality.
Yeah, but
It's
it's a
in
waste
these
of
people's
time.
imagination. Everybody gets along, and every man who identifies into a women's locker room is genuine, and he's not there to hurt anybody. So it's a complete delusion that they live in, and it is the most male privilege, misogynistic bullshit. Because first of all, he's mansplaining women's safety to us, right?
Yeah.
He's telling us that us women just need to be less bigoted and invite these women, trans women, and you know, we should be tolerant of them. It is straight up mansplaining my instincts, my self-preservation, my livelihood, everything that has kept me safe until this point, because the number one threat to women, guess what, is men. So like, I mean, aside from heart disease and cancer, let's just do a health plug. But right, so if somebody's going to hurt me when I go out into the streets at night, I'm not worried about women. I'm not worried about kids. I'm worried about men. I'm not worried about old men, you know?
Since you're ranting,
go to
keep
the
ranting.
Twitter
Rant on that comment. What do you
Town hall, stand up and identify as Jeff Merkley and take over the town hall. Dude, if I wasn't running for commissioner and I didn't want people to take me seriously, I totally would do that. But
We would send
I can't-
Diane with her.
you know what I
We would
mean?
send
Like,
Diane Rich with her. She would be her backup.
yeah. I need people to get to know me before I can do stuff like that, because if that's how people first get to know me, they might not take me seriously. But once people actually get to know me, then they see me kind of really come out of the gate hot. They'll be like, yeah, I know what she's doing, what she needs to be doing.
Well, not only
So-
that, but they will, one, they probably won't choose you to speak. And two, if you do, as soon as you go controversial, they'll cut you off and just say, well, we don't have enough time now to and
Yep.
then run out of the room. So
I could keep talking. I can be super loud.
yeah, but at that point, you know, they'll turn off the microphone. And
Yeah.
then-
And then you're just a problem, right?
yeah,
So
and
what
then
needs
they
to happen
Then
I
they bring
actually have
security,
to.
and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have their harpies. They're going to bring 20 or 30 people
It'll
that are
be a
going to be
schmear
guest speakers.
campaign. They'll do their
Yeah.
flying monkeys, right?
They'll have their yammering, they'll have their as you were saying, the flying monkeys or
Yeah.
whatever I used to say about.
So
Yep.
what has to happen when I do these types of things, I have to do it on a neutral power playground, right? I can't go to an event that I wasn't invited to, that I'm not a speaker at, and then become problematic. Let them come to my turf. Wait until I have equal power. Wait until we have equal speaking power, equal audience support, and then let loose. And so it's a matter of building that trust with those organizers and kind of playing nice to some degree. And I know people watch this show, so I'm like probably giving away my playbook to some degree, but
Yeah.
not enough people will probably, you know what I mean? But
Nobody-
that's, you
nobody
have to
watches this
kind of
show.
play nice to get in a position where you have an equal power platform.
Yeah.
Town hall meetings.
Then
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I was, you finish. You're on a train here. Go ahead.
Oh, just kind of like that's once you are just on an equal playing field with someone, then you can begin to have those more difficult conversations where they have less power to manipulate the conversation.
Yeah.
I was going to say town hall meetings, public forums, things like that. I think the real only inherent value anymore is how good a soundbite you can get for social media. Social media is now where the real power is. I mean,
Yeah.
presidents are made with social media nowadays. We saw that in this last election. In great part, President Trump got in because of the influence of social media. So these town hall meetings and stuff, going and doing that, you probably do yourself more harm than good in the grand scheme of things. These meetings, they're preaching to the choir, they're preaching to the people on their team, and then there'll be the antagonizers, and it doesn't matter which party. It'll just work that way. And it really, I don't know how much inherent value there is anymore. People need to be there, they need to be involved, but again, it's just whatever you can get and put on social media. That's where the power in it really seems to be. Social media is an incredible beast that I don't think we've really even tapped into yet, and it's constantly changing, and I don't think we fully understand the power that it has. And now we have AI going on with it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So Rob, we got 10 times as many more people watching the video that I did about the port than the port did on the meeting that they ran. And they knew that because nobody watches the port meetings.
Right.
And they got at the time, it was 219 views. And the video on Facebook has almost 3,000 views. And it's
awesome.
So, the right people are watching it. They've seen it now.
Yep.
And just the comments that I'm getting, people know this crap's going on. They wouldn't have unless social media was there.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I got to say, good job. That was just such an amazing thing. I mean, that whole topic is, it's mind blowing to me. I had no idea. I mean, I knew there was things going on that maybe weren't the best, but I had no idea how mismanaged, how poorly run, and what a hole the port had dug itself into. I had no idea.
But we do got good news. We got all those signatures, and people went out and got all them signatures all over the county, all over the state to stop the gas tax. And it's going to be on the ballot in November, facing off with the governor-elect, our governor, I'm sorry, up for re-election, the incumbent governor. So that's going to be like an anchor around the neck of Tina Kotek running against whoever she runs against.
Yeah. And good on all y'all that put in so much work. You do so much, Rob. You do so much. And that's a big one. There
was a lot of people involved with this, and it was so cool that they all came together and did their different parts that we needed people to play so that we could get the logistics together to do this type of signature gathering. You're in people's parking lots. It's not easy to ask a business, hey, and then you got to advertise the parking lot and try to be as low key as possible. So you're not really advertising the business. And it's just wild.
You're trying to be low key so that you're not bringing flack to the business. We don't want the Best Western or the Napa Auto Parts to get in trouble because they're they're not showing partisanship. They're just showing patriotism.
Right.
But the whole thing is you want to be low key, but at the same time, you want to get people's attention, so they stop and do signatures. So it's always the, hey, come over here and sign, but
Yeah.
don't bug those folks over there.
Don't look over there.
Rob, are you on the leading edge of getting sick, or are you on the tail end of getting sick?
That's weird. I thought I was getting over getting sick, and the last couple of days I've just started getting this cough back, and so that's the fun thing of being around a lot of people. You get exposed to a lot of stuff. I don't. You get that? You see your videos, but that doesn't show you being exposed to a lot of people. I have to go out and talk to a lot of different people getting these signatures and stuff. But do you get exposed to a lot of different, a huge traffic of people back and forth?
Yes and no. If I'm doing events and things like that, then yes, it's nonstop. If I'm going fishing for the day and doing some videos and stuff like that, like the other night, I got stopped by 8 people, no less than 8 people between the time trying to get, and it's all good and it's all fun and it's just it's humbling. But from the time I pulled in the parking lot, like I got waved down as I was pulling into the parking lot. 5 of the people, I had no idea who they were, and now I know. And it's fun because there's recognition from social media, and everybody knows me from social media. They know Rob, and they know what I do, and they'll bring up stuff, and I'm like, where the hell did you hear that? Like, oh, you posted it like 6 months ago. Like, oh, I said that. I mean, I think that, but I didn't think I said that. So it's this interesting thing. Like, they know everything about me, but I don't know a lot about them. So we'll have these engagements, and I'll be around those people. But that's kind of it. If we go shopping, people will come up and talk and shake hands and stuff. And so I wouldn't say a lot of exposure, but a constant, steady, low grade exposure. Yeah. But the kids bring home sickness.
Hold on, I apologize.
Yeah, don't be doing that.
The show's over already.
Wrap it up, music.
Yeah. I know my finger slipped. I was looking for something else, and my finger slipped.
A lot of people wrap it up.
That was a hint.
Stretch.
So that's a good thing, because if you don't get that big exposure, that repetitive, because that's what I get. It's over and over again. People coming in to get the signatures and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're not,
because it gets. Let's see, but the kids are petri dishes. Kids are petri dishes with legs, and they always bring stuff home. But I've done pretty well over the past handful of years. I got a fairly good constitution for that kind of stuff. When I do get sick, though, everybody's like, "Oh, it's a man cold," but I might not get sick for a couple of years. But if I do, it's gonna beat me down, and it'll get into my lungs, and I'll just want to die. And then I'll get over it, and I'll be good for a year or two again.
Yeah, I mean, we just got back from vacation in Canada, and 2 weeks ago, and it was like, I'm fine, but we were at Vancouver Airport, standing in line with 10,000 other people going through customs
from all over the planet.
From all over the planet, and my wife picked up a cough, and she's had it ever since.
Yeah,
and of course I have a cough because I'm a smoker, so I'm like, I just got a cough, that's it. But she's got a cough, and I'm like, hey, quit stealing my smokes or something. Where'd you?
Nobody smokes anymore. You still smoke? Nobody smokes anymore.
And Marty, I like how you say, "Well, I've got a cough, but I'm a smoker." Well, yeah, but that's like, you got a cough.
It's still bad. It's still bad.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, every now and then, and you don't even smell cigarettes much anymore. Like, you just don't. And every now and then I'll be somewhere and I'll get a whiff of cigarettes, and it takes me back to the old days. And I was never a smoker. I mean, I had my 6 months I tried smoking. It's like, this is dumb, and I'm spending money, and I'm getting no enjoyment out of it. But it takes me back to, being in dark, dingy places with smoke all over the place. I remember going into restaurants and stuff, and it was like, oh, you want smoking or not smoking? And the non-smoking was 2 feet away from where 100 people are smoking a pack of cigarettes. That was the best.
And in the 70s, that was called the kitchen, because we'd go in there, and especially when relatives would show up. My dad, my uncles, they'd all be smoking the Camels, the little, what were those little cigars, those Winchesters and stuff. Yeah. The walls were yellow, and the whole room was wafting. The smoke would be wafting out, and we're all inhaling that. I had at least 2 packs of secondhand smoke a day back then. It was a lot of work, But that was life in some of our houses back in the 70s.
Somebody showed
awesome.
me a picture of a 70s living room, and it had like sculptured carpet and a big console TV, and and then the drapes that were impossible colors. And they said, "What's missing from this picture?" And I go, "There's no ashtrays. We used to have like ashtrays on stands. We used to have ashtrays on the TV table,
Dude,
on
we
the
used to
coffee
make our
table.
parents
Yes.
ashtrays
Yeah,
for
I was gonna
Mother's
say that.
Day.
We made ashtrays for our parents
Yep.
in third grade art class. I mean, come on.
Ashtrays in the
Yeah.
grocery store at the end of the
Yeah.
aisle.
Yes. Ah, the good old
Those
days.
were the days.
Seatbelts were
Rob,
your option.
Oh yeah,
so
I used to.
Rob, I
used
got
to
a
drive on the
question
back
for
deck
you.
in the back window. So yeah,
So Rob, I got a question for you. You were talking about Turning Point, and I hate what happens to these groups once the main figurehead is gone, because then
Yep.
tribalism sets in, factions
Yes.
set in, and I was just blown away watching Tucker Carlson, Bannon, and Shapiro go at it. And I'm a big Bannon fan. I like Tucker Carlson, and I really never been a big fan of what Shapiro. I always thought he was a never Trumper at one time, and that's why I was always
Well,
very
I was always
suspicious.
very annoyed by Dave Shapiro or Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro talks about this fast and he's always kind of talking
Yeah.
about this speed, and I really not can't quite
That's
understand
it.
what he's saying, because he's talking
Well,
about this all the time.
I enjoyed Shapiro for his intellect. Like he was kind of like a precursor to Charlie Kirk. Like he really was in a lot of ways,
He's
at
a
least
smart guy.
for me. And I enjoyed that. And then Charlie Kirk came on the scene, and I think he took away a lot of the steam from Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro probably, personalities being what they are, humans being what they are. I think that probably bothered him. There was probably some jealousy with that, and that's a natural thing. But yeah, the schism, the infighting. Tucker Carlson, I just never ever got a good vibe off of him. He always
Really?
kind of weirded me out. Yeah, he started off with the bow tie thing. Like, I don't know, you look a little too kind of Malcolm X-y going on there. And then,
you remember that. Yeah. And he was
oh,
like on
absolutely.
CNN
And he
at
never
one
wears
time
socks. He never wears socks. And the camera view always has to show his feet wearing shoes and loafers and stuff without socks. And I cannot get on board with that. There's just something inherently disturbing to me.
Is that something performative? Like,
I don't know.
Being like performative in like weird petty way. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
So
And
how
like,
about Bannon? Are you a big Bannon fan?
I would say a big fan, but I like him.
Yeah,
I like him.
Steve Bannon strikes me as the type of dude that like would go on a 3-day coke and booze bend.
Yeah, totally.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I like him.
Oh,
and
there's a
that seems like it's a bad thing. I mean,
I
that's a bad
know.
thing.
there's a documentary on
Oh,
Netflix.
he's a little shaky and like,
Oh, yeah, no,
after
that's
like 3 or 4 days of it.
The
He just
eyes.
looks
It's
like
the eyes
he
and the
looks,
hair.
yeah,
It's
he
the eyes
looks
and
like
the hair.
Perfect
he's always
description.
coming off of a bender.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
used to go
documentary on
watch-
Netflix about the former mayor of Toronto, Canada, and that's literally how he ran his whole operation. And he made no bones about it. Like he was just like strung out, coked out, the whole thing. That like he ran on that platform, and it's hilarious. I mean, I'm sure if I lived there, I would not like it at all. But it's a fascinating documentary on Netflix. And if between the child porn and everything else that Netflix has, the low key, low grade child porn that they push out
I
as
won't pay for it. They
miniseries.
roast me out.
Remember the mayor of Washington D.C., Marion Barry, got busted.
Oh yeah, and they reelected him when he got out of prison.
Yeah,
When he
reelected
got out of prison,
That's-
they reelected him, and I'm like, what was his campaign slogan?
What the
Marion
hell?
Barry, give him another crack at it.
Yeah, so hookers and coke, right? That was Marion Barry. It's like hookers and coke, and my guys and I, we used to do that. Like that was like the running joke, right? Like if someone found 20, hey man, I got $20, man. What are we gonna do? Hookers and coke, and that we based that on Marion Barry.
Yeah. I mean,
You can't get hookers and coke for $20. You can't. Not that we tried, but I know we knew even then it was a bad thing, and you couldn't get hookers and coke for $20 anyway. Not, and especially not with the inflation being what it is now.
Not together, definitely. So,
No, not for that.
Not that I would know.
$30.
but
Now, if
I mean,
if
you
it
get
was
for that price,
2011 and
it
you had
would be
$30, we could probably, work a deal, but not with inflation, not these days.
What kind of quality are you going to get for $20 in hookers and blows these days? I just don't want it.
I just don't want it. I just don't
It's
want
like
it.
that's like the bargain market version. I don't want.
Yeah,
that.
I don't want to see that. That's going to be scary. That will scare you straight, literally.
Yeah, and like
So,
the women he was hooking up with were like homeless, toothless people. Like they like he wasn't like going getting escorts. Not that I condone or would ever want anything to do with it, but I mean it's like, okay, dude, like you're the mayor of DC, like, okay, he's probably doing horrible things, and it's like you found her in a back alley somewhere, man. You had to give her CPR before you can get with her. Like
You
what are
know
your
what you
life
have to
choices?
wonder? What was he doing to her?
that dead
Because
No,
he
no,
was
woman
no,
was
don't, no, no,
barely
probably
no,
a dog
no.
here.
getting
What a
La la
joke.
la
like,
la
so
la
think
la
about it.
la la
If you
la la
go get
la.
an escort, right, there are rules. But if you go get like back alley Betty, like he was probably into some horrific stuff that you know what I mean? Like
La
he's
la la
probably
la la.
sorry. He's
Speaking of
probably an
horrific stuff,
abusive dude. Yeah.
remember Nancy Pelosi's husband Paul? She was out of
Yep.
town for a week. She was out of the country for a week, and like the naked fat guy that I
Oh
think
yeah.
he picked up in a gay bar with a hammer
Yep.
started going after him.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so I linked to a story about that, and I got a week-long Facebook ban for it. Do you remember how like
Wow.
Facebook is still a very cucky thing? But do you remember how bad it was? I posted
Yeah.
a meme
Yeah.
of Hunter Biden in his skivvies that is like an actual picture of him, and
Yeah.
I got a 30-day ban
Yeah.
for that. Rob, I think you got busted for a bunch of that too, didn't you?
Totally. Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
Oh yeah, I got
Don't
the
you
same thing.
man,
I got
don't you
booted
guys
from
just
X
want to
for
be like
quoting U.S.
anytime
law.
they're trying to enforce like these petty laws and petty restrictions, didn't you guys just want to be like, why don't you guys go figure out who had cocaine in the White House,
Yep,
you
hundred
assholes?
percent,
Like
100%.
go clean up, like, can you guys please get to the bottom of that, because we're getting Facebook bans for
Well,
posting conspiracy theories.
yeah. Well,
So,
and the
Yep.
thing is,
this is a good segue to this Coos County turning point thing because we're having, and
that's
this
all
is
it
the
was.
sad part, Rob. I don't want people to think that that we are exploiting turning point as well, because that's what it seems like a lot of people are now doing after the death of Charlie Kirk.
I don't
We
feel that. I don't think anybody feels you guys are doing that. I don't.
And well, and it's definitely a concern because there are a lot of grifters out there who are going to try
I
to
don't
make
think
something
people
on
think
that.
that either.
And we are actually accruing a cost to having these events. And so this one right here, we are getting so much pushback because it's happening at the Egyptian. And Jill Rasmussen is the Egyptian executive director. I don't think she's on the
So
board because I think she's an employee. Go ahead, Brandi.
just to be clear, the Egyptian theater is getting pushback because any venue you guys host it at will get pushback. They will
Yep.
find some excuse to abuse you guys.
Yep.
Now they're just abusing Jill because it's an easy target. They would abuse and they would come up with any excuse because they want to abuse people they disagree with. Full
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, no, and that's what they do. I mean, they are so small-minded and just very. I mean, not only are they
Freedom for me
small-minded,
and not for thee.
yeah, but
Yep.
they're small-minded and they're very petty, and they lead absolutely worthless lives. So they have to take it out on us, and they do it from behind their keyboards, and they do it with their keyboard warriors that harass these people for no other reason than they're doing their stinking job. If you don't like us, come after us, but don't go after Jill
Poor
at the
Jill.
Egyptian.
Yeah.
Jill, this
Yeah.
is a really interesting situation because Jill actually, oops, I'm losing my earbud. Jill actually could sue. So, like us folks, we're public figures, so we have a little bit less protection from things like slander, libel, defamation.
But we
I forget.
also have inherently high protections against litigation against us as well. We have
That's true.
a very high
Yeah.
degree. Like we are media. We are public figures, so we can say and do a lot of things
Yeah,
that there's a lot more leeway with too. So don't forget, there's also advantages to it
that's nice.
for
Yeah,
sure.
there's advantages. But when it comes to a circumstance like this, so I have consulted with my attorneys. I've taken some stuff to court and sat in front of Judge Stone. And basically, what I've been told is normally, yes, this would be enough to get a stalking order and then begin to civilly sue this person for harassment if I wanted to. But because I'm a public figure, that stuff doesn't hold up in court. Jill is not a public figure. And so get this. This could be a beautiful thing. If the theater really does suffer losses over the next, say, 12 months, and they can tie it back to specific harassment from specific people, she has verifiable, easy peasy to show damages $50 it costs to file a civil lawsuit. She could so easily sue a specific individual. I know who, I think we're talking about the same person. She could absolutely sue that person personally, and she would absolutely win the lawsuit. So if she wants to do it, I will do anything
So
I can do
you
to support her in that.
you want to hear what she's been putting up with, because I got a good recording you might like. You want to hear?
Yeah.
Listen to this. This was a complaint that someone called in from the number that's on the poster. That's the number that goes to a private answering service for this event. And they left a message thinking that this was the Egyptian theater. And it was very funny because I can only play this because they chose to leave a message. And I thought you might enjoy to hear this. Oops, hold on. That didn't work out.
The window and the arts community to welcome MAGA and Turning Point into their space. Are we that hard up for money that we're going to invite this hateful rhetoric into our space and just claim that we're neutral? What? Like, you understand your patrons are art people, leftists, right? So what's the looking forward into the future for this, right? Do
They're
you
such
think that
fucking bigots.
people would be okay with this and still patronize your business after that? No, right? This is not. Turning Point USA is so out of the sphere of your normal people, right? So I will be telling everyone I know never to go to the Egyptian theater again. I will never be
Bigoted
back.
cunt. I'm
Can't believe
sorry.
you guys have done this to your reputation. Like, growing up, that theater was beautiful. We brought it back to life. It was doing great things. And then we're this desperate for money that we're going to take Turning Point USA's and ostracize so much of your own community. So good call. Good luck. Have
What a
fun.
cunt.
We'll never be back
Capital
again.
C. I'll say it with my
Find
full
a new director.
chest.
Jill can go shack up with Turning Point if she wants, but you guys have caused so much harm to your business. It's unreal. Hi. Wow. You guys are in some muddy water, huh?
Negative bigotry.
Wow.
So, okay, I was expecting, is he done? He, she, are they done?
I'm sure that's enough.
I was expecting violence or something like that. And it's like, okay, they expressed their opinion. I wasn't even offended by anything they said, but it was the tone. Like at the beginning of the show, I did that, like, and it's like, okay. And then they did that inflection at the end. And it's like a guy doing that. And you talk about the feminization of men. That is exactly the issue going on. Like,
it's very
this guy should be out. Very, very, but they don't even know. I wouldn't even say it's performative anymore. I think it's actually who they are now. If you do a task repetitively, you get that muscle memory, right? Like you build a muscle, you snap up a rifle, muscle memory, and talking like this eventually becomes a thing, and you do it all the time. And when he's with other people, and it'd be like, I really like the color green.
So
are you asking me or are you telling me?
Here's kind of like a question about that, though. It becomes who they really are. Is there even a real self, or are we dealing with a narcissistic false self?
They're a follower. They follow the narrative that they believe in. Is it false though? Yeah. If it becomes who they are though? Because everybody changes, right? We change from birth to death. We go through different iterations of who we are, and our experiences change us. Like, oh, hey man, I don't want to fight. I don't want to be. Oh, hey, I was attacked. I was mugged. Now I want to go beat the shit out of people that want to hurt other people. People have events that change them. These people truly believe they are being attacked. They truly believe they're being attacked, and they believe these organizations hate them.
I don't think they do.
Foments. Oh, I don't know.
I think so. Hear me out. I think their attempt to manufacture the victimhood, because they sense it's an artificial reality, that is what is causing all of the anxiety and depression that these people are suffering, because they're not living in reality. They know it's not real.
It's not reality.
While they're trying to manufacture this,
I think he's right. I think they need that reaction is why they're doing this. That's what they feed on, isn't it?
Well, narcissists need attention, and the false self is
That's why I say
there is
don't.
no real person inside there.
That's why I always say don't feed the trolls. There's been a couple of times when he's posted things and people start reacting and they start reacting and and then it just becomes an interchange and I'm like, oh no, 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 don't feed the trolls because
All they want is attention.
the only reason they exist is to get people pissed off because it gives them a sense of they've got
Power.
control of the situation. They got control of the situation because they pissed you off. So
And
him saying, we rebuilt the Egyptian and this is our community. And don't you know that
That
everybody
is so
agrees with
colonialist too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Think
Yeah.
and we
about
are
the people who moved here
yeah.
3, 4, 7 generations ago. The
Jedediah
founders. And we have,
Mingus.
right? Like the original Mingus brothers. We know them. They're hanging out. But there's really people out in Fairview, people out in these little neighborhoods and stuff, these little communities. But people who, even Drew Farmer, I think is like 3rd or 4th generation Coos County, like people who've been here for generations. And then you get people who have imported here. They have not lived their lives here. They don't have any family ties here. And they come here and they tell us how to live. They tell us they rebuilt our theater. They tell us that they, have control over our culture. It is colonialist. It is modern day contemporary colonialism. And these people are no better than the Christopher Columbus that they hate so much. They are the same.
They do hate the Christopher Columbus. But have you guys seen, there was a video put out by Drew Farmer, and it was just so, wow, it was just so self-serving and very indicative of his true roots in the LGBT community, because he really was defending everything that the left was doing, but he wasn't defending other people's rights to have their ability to do what they wanted to do themselves. You know what I mean? It's okay to protest, but it's not really, he didn't give any vindication for having the event itself. And that was really what ticked me off, is that these people are saying god awful things about us, and you don't even find out why we're doing this or who we're doing this about. You just come up with all of these subjective ideas without even coming and talking to any of
There's no need to. There's no need to.
Yeah.
They know because they were told. They were told. Their friends said. They saw it online. Somebody they follow. Some deviant America hater said this is the truth. So they don't have to fact check. They don't have to look. They don't have to listen to an interchange. Now, the person that left that message, I don't want to know their name, but do we know who that person is?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I got their number, but I don't know who they are.
Okay. Don't know. Okay. I thought maybe it was somebody well known or something like that.
I was making a guess. But...
Gotcha. Like, Drew Farmer, he said self-serving. I mean, he's a politician. I don't think so either. Drew Farmer, I mean, he's a politician. He's going to be self-serving. To expect anything less, I think, would be disingenuous to ourselves. And people in that community are, I hate using the term fanatical, but I feel like they're fanatical. And maybe we're all fanatical to a way.
Well, and here's the thing that's really annoying to me is that I used to live in West Hollywood for like a year and a half, 2 years. I lived in West Hollywood. I was like the only straight guy in an all-gay apartment complex outside of the landlord and his wife. And the weird thing is there were a lot of super effeminate gays, like the person on the phone who was talking like with inflection, and and everything is like, it's our community and this is what we built, and everybody thinks like I think. And then there were guys that would be like, unless you told me he was gay, I wouldn't even have guessed. And it was just like, so you get all kinds. And it was just like, okay, so you get the ones that are, I mean, I remember I had some gay friends that were like going, I wish we could get rid of the flaming homosexuals and just allow people to be gay. Because there was guys with, flaunting all the time and flapping and flaunting and everybody was like,
that's narcissism. That's not homosexuality. It's a freaking cluster B disorder.
Yeah.
And we're just like, and they were like going, can we, learn how to be gay, and stop being a fag or something.
You know what it is, Marty? Okay, I'll give you another example. I would, growing up in the barrio, I would have rich white friends from up in the Heights, and they would come and visit me. And then my Mexican gangbanger friends would show up, and all of a sudden they were speaking ghetto. And you're like, dude, you're still white, man. No matter what you do, you're still white. Yeah. They don't care, And so It's funny how people want to pretend they're something they're not just so that they can fit into a group or in the stereotype. The guy on the phone sounded like something from a 1970s sitcom that we would expect a gay character to sound like without them ever saying he was gay. That was exactly why they made him sound like that. So everyone would go, oh, well, that's the gay guy. That's Paul Lynn. He's the queer, because he speaks like that with a lisp. And we all knew, you know what I mean? But why do they have to do it now? Because like you said, speak normal, damn it.
Now, this last presidential election, I think a lot of gay folks actually voted for President Trump, did they not? Wasn't there a big turnout of like the regular, like not radical, crazy?
Look up the black gay conservatives. Fire. Pure fire. Black gay conservatives.
I know. Look up the black gay conservatives.
I'm telling you, it's a whole demographic, and they're absolutely on fire. You guys will love them.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I
have to go. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go join my husband and enjoy the rest of our little trip. So you guys take care, everybody. Thank you for having me on, Rob. Yeah.
All
good night, everybody.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye, guys.
Good to see you.
All right. So have you seen this video, Doug?
No, I haven't.
So we're worried about people coming in and maybe possibly protesting, because we usually get those 5 guys who show up on the other side of the street, and it's normally not a big deal. Well, somebody's put a bug into Drew's ear, and I want you to listen to a politician fanning the flames of divisiveness. It's funny.
Okay.
There's a joke there somewhere, but let me play this because it's just freaking hilarious.
There was fanning, there was flaming, and then
don't mind the shadow back there. That's a balloon for my 40th birthday that ended up here. So what's going on with the Egyptian? I imagine anybody watching this is aware of it, but if you're not, Turning Point USA is planning to have a, whatever they call it, a town hall or something at the Egyptian Theater next month. Reason I bring it up, one, is because it's so much in the public right now, and I think it's something that I need to address just because of the position I hold. And also, I had someone reach out to me today who's opposed but is now concerned about what the response is going to be as well. So starting with that, and as a heads up, if you're not terribly familiar with my approach to things, you're going to find out how much I prefer to focus on local rather than national at this point. So the reason I got the call earlier was an individual that had helped with the opposition to the Turning Point presentation that's coming, or town hall rally. He is helping with the opposition, organizing protesters. And in the course of this, he reached out to the NAACP, about them coming here. So as an outcome of that, he's now learned that there was a call for 1,000 protesters from throughout the state to converge on the Egyptian, essentially, Coos County, in opposition to Turning Point having their town hall here. That made him nervous. It's an individual that does not agree with Turning Point, does not agree with the different politics and such behind it, but now is worried because that outreach at the broader scale has resulted in something that makes him worry about our community here and what the impact would be if 1,000 protesters did show up and things got out of hand. I've talked with our sheriff's office and the chief of police in Coos Bay, some others. I've corresponded with Coos Health and Wellness about what we do if something major happens. What is the medical side of this going to be? De-escalation trainings, or those something
de-escalation
we can
training?
Jesus, you already like he's just aggrandizing here.
Provided to all the officers in Coos County. I don't know if everybody still takes it, but it was while I was with the city of Coos Bay as a counselor. And then also with our emergency management, folks may not know this, but as commissioners, we're required to take a number of emergency management courses so that we know our position within the chain, how we
Yeah.
operate within.
You want me to stop or you want me to continue?
And
What would you like?
I'm kind of done already. As soon as he hears talking, he was so dismissive of Turning Point right off the top. He was, Turning Point and their town hall or whatever it is they do. Like right there, that was it. He set the entire tone for the rest of it, and he's like, "Oh, this guy, he's really worried. He's an agitating terrorist." I mean, he doesn't say that, but he's really worried. He's worried about our community. Oh no, he's not. No, he's not.
No. I mean, the 30 seconds into it when he goes, "Oh, Turning Point USA and their town hall thingy
or whatever it is they do." Yeah.
And then it was like it couldn't even be bothered to find out what the event is, what the event is about, what it is we're doing. Turning Point USA, the cornerstone is let's have an open dialogue about things. And then how does the NAACP come into this? What a National Association for Colored People? I mean, Turning Point USA starts wearing white hoods and burning crosses now. I mean,
But Marty, this is what they told us the last dozen times to every event, that they're bringing in 1,000 protesters from Portland.
Nobody wants to come to Coos Bay.
Yeah. Nobody.
I mean, outside of the 18 different fake names he uses on certain social media, I can't believe that guy could bring in more than 4 or 5 people who are all as delusional as he is about how the world actually works. I mean, if there was an actual problem going on and we were bringing in people that were like, let's bring in like the gay busters and let's bring in a bunch of real butch boys that really hate gay guys and have them go out and start beating people up. Yeah, if that's what we were bringing in, let's have a thing at the Egyptian for that. Then I could see why they'd be upset. But Turning Point, I mean, we want to have an open dialogue about how we can improve America. That's a really bad thing to do. I mean, at what point? Charlie Kirk I've never seen a Charlie Kirk quote that is, anti-gay, anti-black, racist, bigoted, anything. So where do they come off with that crap?
Again, it's word of mouth. It's this mass delusion that they have. Now, is the rest of Drew Farmer's video, is it basically just the same thing all the way through? At any point does he talk about freedom of speech and it's like, hey, we should be looking after the people coming and doing this. This is their right to be here. They should be protected. Anything like that, or just worried about?
He goes on. He talks about their freedom of speech and their right to protest and all that good stuff, but what he doesn't talk about is our right to freedom of assembly, that we have a right.
Yeah, that's too bad.
We don't have any, we have a right to be protected from being harassed or
absolutely
hurt. I mean, we have a right to have our rights not violated. That's the main right he's supposed to have the law enforcement uphold, is to make sure that nobody is going to harm anyone who attends any of our events. Yep. And he acts like it's somehow causing them a lot of friction and a lot of pain, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to do all this extra stuff, the emergency management, Coos Health and Wellness, because they might come and have to talk somebody down. I
know that whole thing, that whole organization. As soon as he mentioned them too, it's like just pandering. It's too bad. I mean, I have nothing against the guy. I don't know him well enough, but that little video, that just the leading statement, the Turning Point or whatever they do, it was so dismissive. It was so dismissive.
Yeah. And so he's not supposed to do that, though. You know what he did? He was trying to keep people from going to the event, or he was actually trying to have the Egyptian cancel the event. One of the two is really, I believe, what could potentially be his intentions. I don't like to lay motive on people, but to me, he should know better than this. And I think he wanted something else to come from his video there.
Yeah, fair assessment.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, as Samantha said, it's supposed to be nonpartisan. And that's not nonpartisan at all. That's a one-way street where it's like, I mean, and the whole dialogue was basically instilling the fact that, it's going to get out of hand and there's thousands of protesters and we've got to get Coos Health and Wellness involved. And we had to talk to the sheriff. Yeah. We had to talk to the chief of police and Coos
Fear-mongering.
Oh my God, the world's going to explode because we had somebody come and talk about how nice it would be if we could all just get along for once. Wouldn't that be
So
great?
I have talked to a couple of the business owners who are on 101, and they are complaining about all the traffic that comes down there on a Saturday to do those No Kings protests, and they don't stop in for dinner. They're not spending much money.
Right.
They go to the rally, they get in their car, and they leave.
Get back on their bus.
Yeah, and so this is them doing that. And the only time I remember a violent protest occurring in Coos County was the Black Lives Matter protest, and he's worried about this. We have never had any problems at any of our rallies, at any of our events, and we stand by that reputation. But you look at the people, the city of Coos Bay, their police department, they were sued by the Black Lives Matter group, and they were exonerated by an independent group who said that not only did the violence they used was necessary, but if they could have used more force, and it would have been completely acceptable in the circumstances that was present.
Interesting. I didn't know there was a suit brought.
Yeah, and most people don't. There was a suit brought against BLM against the city of Coos Bay. Oh, and by the way, Rob, you know whose video helped exonerate the police of Coos Bay? It was one of our guys' video, because he was standing right there in the crowd.
Awesome.
And I was about 20 feet away from him watching him film this cop and this pregnant woman who she said the cop pushed her down. And that didn't happen. The crowd pushed her down because they were all just, you know how they are when they're in that BLM crowd. They're all shoving and pushing and stuff. And this lady hit the ground and she blamed the cop, and the cop wasn't anywhere near her. And it was on a video that I believe it's our favorite crime fighter, Samuel Adams. I think that was one of his videos. Yes.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? That's
that really is.
Does what he does, man. He is really good at doing it.
Yeah, and he's been doing it a while now. I mean, he's towing the line. He's there for the long haul. It's impressive.
So I guess there was a letter. Let me see if I can find that. Where was that about Mike the Bear? Steve and I, thank you for joining us. One of these days, we're going to have to have you on the show. We're going to have to bring you on here. It says Mike the Bear wrote a nice piece about it regarding the First Amendment. Now, I don't know if that was the one that was the letter that was in the World, but apparently there was a letter saying what we're expressing here, and especially to Drew Farmer's video, that they're overreacting, and this is just a Christian thing, and they're showing Christian values. How can that be controversial at all? Right.
Well, that's the time and place we live in right now. That's the time and place we live in. Those are the people we're surrounded by. There's always been this element. There has always been an anti-American element, but it is bigger and stronger now. And I knew as soon as President Trump got elected, I knew when I stayed up all night and didn't fall asleep at 3 o'clock and wake up like an hour later, and all of a sudden we were behind a massive margin that wasn't there just moments before. When I knew that he secured that election, I knew the left was going to double down on stupidity, on violence, on rhetoric, and go hard. I mean, it's a natural course of things. It's going to happen, but we knew. But it's even a little more, I think, than I thought it was going to be.
No, it's going to get worse, because there's going to be more high-profile people are going to start getting arrested, which means it's going to trigger the paid professional protesters and the people that are here to actually create these issues. And I noticed one thing that I noticed is that the president went to Hegseth at the Department of War and basically said, I want you to have at least 500 National Guard troops ready to mobilize in all 50 states by January 2nd. By that specific date, I'm not sure, but that's today. But the whole point is they know something's coming. Something's going to happen.
Yes. And I think there'll be more political assassinations, attempts of, or plannings of. Whether they actually get completed or not, I don't know. But that type of violence, I feel, is going to increase as well. When you have a mayor in Seattle like we now have, when you have a mayor in New York like we now have, that's going to do nothing but foment hatred and violence. And it's funny because, I mean, if you want to truly play the game of unrestricted violence, the quote unquote right will win that. You know, there's people on the left with skill sets. There's people on the left with knowledge and use of force background, but it is far more superior on the right. And the fact that there has not been an overwhelming use of force by the right to the left tells you and tells anyone with an open mind that we are not the party of violence. We are not the, I don't say party, but we are not the group that is going to perpetuate violence. But if it ever comes to the point where it opens up completely, it would not be a good thing. It would not be a good thing at all.
I think you're right that this further that it goes down the line, especially when or if Vance becomes president. These people are in for the long game. We said that earlier, and they're always going to find ways to antagonize us, and violence is something that, wouldn't it? Okay, let's say that Drew Farmer's right, and we get 1,000 NAACP, which I don't know why they're here.
Yeah, why?
I'm not racist. Okay. I'm related to a lot of black people, and I don't consider myself racist, so I'm not sure why the NAACP is coming. But let's say they did. So what? They do have a right to show up, and as long as they're not violent, then I don't really give a damn.
And Drew's intonation that the NAACP with 1,000 people showing up might cause violence, is that a tacitly racist comment?
No kidding.
Let's frame it that way. Let's do what they do. Let's frame it that way. Wow, I cannot believe how racist Drew Farmer was with his comments. Did you hear that? He says if black people come here, they're going to be violent. I can't even believe he said that. I can't believe he said that.
They cannot restrain the primal instinct inside themselves because of the pigmentation of their skin. Drew Farmer, how dare you say that about people?
I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said.
Paraphrasing.
Yep, there's going to be 1,000 NAACP people here, so we had to call the cops. We had to call the sheriff. We had to,
right. Black people showed up. We had to call the cops. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, Drew Farmer, you shouldn't be so racist, bud. You got to stop that. You got to stop that.
And that's and I would never do that in real life. I mean, we're funning here. We're having a good laugh at Drew Farmer.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not going to go on out there and really try to convince people of that, but that's the type of things, like you said, they do. I've heard that Turning Point is what did he say? We were racist, and
one said racist, and the one that the one that's been being posted the most is that they're anti-gay and they hate LGBTQ.
No, but what did Drew Farmer say about that? That he had heard that someone had said about us that Turning Point was racist and sexist, and I forget what he said, but once you say that kind of puts it out there that's what it is, isn't it?
Yep, 100%. It doesn't matter if it's true, if it's based in fact. Once you make public statements like that, especially coming from a public official, you have now branded it. You have now put that in other people's heads, and you have now perpetuated that fear, you've perpetuated that hate, and you've perpetuated that march towards violence.
Yeah. I mean, they don't call us Nazis because they think we're Nazis. They call us Nazis so that if somebody injures us, it'll give them an okay. It'll be okay for them to do so.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Are we saying that Drew is the racist fascist, allegedly? Oh my gosh. I didn't realize.
Is he a Nazi?
Is he a Nazi? He really doesn't like those NAACP. For a guy who's trying to bring tourism to our state, what's wrong with protest tourism? We need some more of that protest tourism.
My gosh.
And NAACP, they have a right to come down here and protest, but no, Drew Farmer, he doesn't want the darkies to come down here.
The businesses can have protest burgers.
Yep.
We can have Antifa shakes. We can have, bring them in.
Bring them in.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I mean,
wow, we have really twisted that the hell out.
Wendy's will have like a chicken and waffle night or something,
Chicken and waffle.
Gosh.
Oh, geez, that sounds good. Chicken and waffle right now with a little bit of honey on it.
And have sponsored by Drew Farmer with a question mark on the back. Sponsored by Drew Farmer? Like, is that a statement or a question?
And we'll give you watermelon for dessert, Drew.
Oh
my
gosh.
God, what are you saying?
Does every sentence end with a question mark?
You know, if Kamala would have won the election, we never would be able to talk like this. You do know that.
No, I'm aware of that every day. The fact that I can use retard, I can use the words retard and gay. I made a statement on one of my pages the other day saying that basically, like, just when I use the word retard, and when I think pretty much I can speak for all of us, when we use the word retard, we're not making fun of handicapped people. We're not making fun of developmentally challenged people at all. Like, I would never, I'll call Tim Waltz a retard, but I would not call people developmentally challenged a Tim Waltz. That would be like just like a horrible thing to do. And then I mentioned that, censorship is gay. It's the word gay is like, don't use it as a broad brush, man. We're not picking on anybody. Like, literally, if I call someone a gay retard, I am not saying you are a homosexual developmentally challenged person, because I'm not making fun of those people. I'm just making fun of you.
Right.
Yeah. Gay, fake, phony, and false. I tell you, gay, fake, phony, and false. But anyway.
So this law just passed in Florida, and I thought it was so. I used to flip back and forth on the death penalty, because I always thought, do we really want the government to have so much power they can take your life? But then I look at people like Charles Manson and I go, yeah, they should pretty much shoot that son of a bitch. So I'm really conflicted on this stuff. But this new Florida law allows the death penalty for adults who rape children under 12. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I like DeSantis. I really do. I enjoy DeSantis so very much. He's taken Florida from me. So I used to have a segment of my show 8 years ago called What's Going On in Florida, or Florida Today. And it was all the weird, crappy, it's all the stuff that's happening in Oregon now, but it was happening in Florida. And I would make fun of it. I'd mock and demean. And now it's gone, like, they are getting squared away pretty good. And now we are just like that. What is it? That police oversight, law enforcement oversight panel in Eugene. They have a convicted child murderer now sitting on that board. Like, we are now the joke of the nation. Like, California looks at us and laughs. California's grossed out that Oregon touches it now. Like, that's how far Oregon has slid. I love DeSantis and what he's what he's done. I love DeSantis and what he's done for his state. What he's done for his state.
What he did for his state.
Did for his state.
That boy's good. I like him. He's done good for us.
Like 6 or 7 years ago, it used to be like the standard punchline where it's like, Florida man, it'd be like
yes.
Florida man.
Anything that had to do with impropriety with an alligator or anything weird in drag, or it was always a Florida man. Good call.
And this is the whole thing. If this doesn't deter you from doing that type of thing, because in my mind, you're committing a crime that is as heinous as murder.
Yes.
Because a murdered victim will not remember the pain of being murdered, but the child will live with the pain of whatever sick thing you did to the poor child.
And the child's children later in life will suffer from it. And that child's children for 7 generations or more will suffer from what that person did. Curtis Buell, SWAC, Southwest Oregon Community College, right here in Coos County, folks. He's a double convicted sex offender. He diddled 2 of his students while he was a science teacher in it was at Eugene. Then he fled the state, went to Washington real quick when that started coming up. And then I don't know if he got extradited back or just convinced to come back, serve his time, did actual prison time for diddling kids. And now he works at SWAC, where he was or is still in with an audience of young people, with an audience of minors, helping them with the GED program. That is how deviant this state has become.
With young girls who are at the same age of the girls that this guy is accused, or not accused, he was actually convicted of doing this to women of the same age to the girls that he's educating.
And that doesn't change.
And
that is a broken brain that doesn't fix. Somebody who's a sexual deviant like that towards children, they don't get better. They don't get better ever. That doesn't change. It doesn't. Therapy doesn't help. There's one thing that helps them. there's one thing, and I would volunteer to be that guy 1,000 times over, as horrible and heinous as it would be, and the nightmares it would bring me. I would do that to protect children. This guy, I made a post, Darren Cinco. I had already blocked this guy a while back on one of my pages because he was just like a crazy leftist. So he was a North Bend middle school teacher, and he lost his license this September for having improprieties with young girls.
I remember that now. I remember this name now. Yeah.
See, there's so many of them. I lose track. There's so many of them. Now, can I read you some of the comments that some of his former students? Now, I'm not going to say their names, and I can't verify that every one of these statements is true and factual, so help me God. But the fact that so many former students are making these comments about him, when you just look at his profile picture, he just screams deviant. Oh, you can't judge a book by, shut your mouth. Not you guys, but just people when they say that. You can't judge a book by its, shut your mouth. You can judge a book by its cover every time you pick up a book. Now, why does this guy look so okay? He was my old science teacher at North Bend Middle School. I never really liked him because he was weird and something was always off with him. This doesn't surprise me, to be honest. I always made sure to stay away from him. He always gave me creepy vibes. He definitely gave off the creeper vibe. The only thing that surprised me was that it was a female and not a male. I bet there's way more victims, both female and male, that we'll never heard about. I remember an incident that happened when I was in middle school. He mistakenly brought an adult movie to school. He claimed that he grabbed the wrong movie. He tried to bribe the class with candy not to say anything. I'm 33 now, so that could have been almost 20 years ago. He used to teach at Myrtle Point when I was in high school. Always gave me the creeps. And then, of course, there's always an apologist, right? There's always the guy, oh, you don't know, he's a good guy. There's always one of those. He's been a creeper in young girls for over a decade. Glad they finally got him. I remember him being creepy and weird. I knew he no longer worked at the middle school. He was my kid's science teacher. He didn't get the nickname Mr. Sicko for nothing. That's something a lot of people are saying. They called him Mr. Sicko because he was such a weirdo. My son had him for a teacher and told me just now it doesn't surprise him at all that he's a sex offender. Another one, doesn't surprise me at all. There's a couple here that are really, I never had him as a teacher, but was in that school the year I moved here, 2002, but he already had the nickname back then of Mr. Sicko, and there were rumors of the same thing as in these papers over 20 years ago. He was my science teacher. He was always weird, always called the girls up over the boys. He'd have his zipper down constantly, and when someone would say something about it, he'd always smile and say, oh, I know, and then there's a thread of 10 comments on that one. I was one of his students in 21, 22. I can agree he was very odd and inappropriate. Always tried to keep as far away from him as I could because he always made me uncomfortable. When he noticed I wasn't for his games, I quickly fell out of favor. Like, that is a grooming. That is a groomer, man.
Yep. That's a groomer.
That is a groomer. And it goes on and on and on and on and on with statements.
Wow. That is just people, and that's, I wonder how much, if you took those comments and you strung together the timeline, how far back it goes, what I mean? What's the span of time for this shit?
How long was he offending? Because when he was doing this, he was offending. If he was acting like this 20 years ago, he was offending 20 years ago. I get why parents aren't going and lynching these people. I get it. I understand. You've got a family, you've got a life, you got to try to do the right thing. You want to, be on the right side of the law. But I'm somewhat disheartened and surprised that with all these deviants we have around, all these sexual predators around here, and all the stuff that goes on around here, every 6 months we have a teacher in Coos Bay or North Bend that gets pinched for something like this. Like, I really think at least it's on average every 6 months that some parent hasn't just waited outside in the darkness and done what needed to. I can't say I would do it, but so help me God, if something like this happens to one of my kids, I'm not just standing by. I have one of my kids active in sports. I'm not going to mention names or anything right now, but her coach, this is my very youngest daughter. And he's saying stuff to them like, oh, you guys, and I know people are going to roll your eyes like, oh, that's nothing, Rob. This is a grown ass man talking to my child like this. Oh, you girls are real bitchy today. You got to pull it together. Okay, you guys are really pissing me off. Like, if you're that comfortable talking that way around 12-year-olds as a grown ass man who's a teacher, I don't know. There needs to be a delineation. There needs to be an appropriateness. And when you're crossing that line, well, the next line, maybe you make a sexual innuendo. So this next week, I'm going to the school talking about it. Hopefully I can have an audience with him and just ask him and explain to him that, I don't appreciate that. It's probably best that I found out about this at the end of the season, but I trust it won't happen again. There's another teacher that my oldest daughter had last year that was telling the kids in her class that they were racist because they thought eating dogs was creepy and weird and gross. And he basically told them, he didn't basically tell them, he told them, well, I mean, if you guys can't accept other cultures and what they do, that makes you a racist. So he's grooming them, not in a sexual way, but grooming them ideologically to tell them like, oh, you're a racist. I went, talked to the principal at the time. The principal afforded me an opportunity to meet with that teacher, and I left, and it was good. And I left it with the verbiage of, and I trust I'll never have to have this meeting again. And I smiled and gave him a good firm handshake, and we left it at that. If you don't nip those things in the bud, when they hit that point, they will fester and they will grow. These people, all these people, anybody that has any contact with your children needs to know that there is nothing on this planet that will stop you from ending them if they hurt your children. Not that I want to go out and do this stuff, but they need to know there will be consequences and you will not like them. People that are predators and indoctrinators of children, they love themselves more than they love anything else on earth. Look at like this deviant. You should look at my page. This Darren Sicko. I mean, he's got the poofy pompadour hair. He's got a shirt unbuttoned. He loves himself. He's a narcissist who's probably done a lot worse than what they didn't take it down the criminal path because they were real tight. They were real tight on the evidence. So the governing body for the school board, or not the school board, but the Teachers Association of Oregon, sent him a letter a long time ago already saying like, look, you have X amount of time to respond to this. Here's the allegations. Here's what's going on. Here's why we're going to put you up for losing your license. And here is your opportunity to refute it. Here's your opportunity to come before us and a tribunal and plead your case and tell us. Well, he never responded to any of those communications that were sent via certified mail. He obviously, in my estimation, did this with legal counsel, and legal counsel told him, just shut up. There's, I gotta say another bad word, and I apologize because y'all know I don't swear much, those of you in the audience right now, but there's a great not great, but some advertisements from some lawyers out of LA. And they say, what do you do when the police show up? You shut the fuck up. And that's their whole advertising campaign. You call us. So his lawyer, obviously, in my estimation, but obviously told him, shut the F up. Don't say anything. Don't respond to this. You're going to lose your license, but it's that, or you go before this tribunal. And then when they start uncovering things, now we have probable cause. Now we have evidence to take it to a criminal thing. So he just went cold. He went dark. He didn't respond to anything from any of the organizations. And he lost his teaching license in September of this year. And this was not blasted on all the news stations. This was not sent out in letters from the school board saying, hey folks, let you know this is what's happened, this is what's going on. We want full transparency. It's like, no, we'll just keep it quiet. Hideous, heinous.
Where's this posted? Where do you got this posted?
I posted it December 31st on Base and Tackle Online.
Oh, on Base and Tackle Online.
I think I linked to it on the other one, but the other one has so many posts it'll be impossible to find.
Okay. So, but yeah, I saw that, and we just had another one here that's happening in Bandon, and the union is defending them. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's hard to find a good teacher. You know what I mean? It's really, we don't want the kids to fall back behind, So I guess if they get molested, it's okay. You're really good at adding and
seniors are reading at a 4th grade level. We don't want them to drop back to a 3rd grade level now.
These people should at least consider on occasion that unspeakable things could happen to them should they harm the wrong child. Unspeakable horrors that they cannot imagine. Things that maybe they talk about in history that they cannot imagine. I have the rest of so something happens to one of my kids, I have the rest of my family to consider and think about, like, what do I do? Right. But then I also have to think, well, this person's going to get to walk the streets and still be out there, and my child has to live in fear with that. What do I do to mitigate that? I don't know. I pray that occasion never comes to me. But
Well,
so help me as God is my witness, somebody does something, I have to do something. Whatever that looks like, I don't know, but I have to be involved. Parents, be involved. If something doesn't seem right, it's because it's not right. If your gut tells you something's not right, it's because it's not right. And you get involved and you talk and you don't worry about that's. I mean, look at that guy. Let's do a search history on his computer. You know what it's full of.
Yeah.
Look at him. Just look. Oh, you can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, sure as hell you can. Just a deviant.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, my biggest question is that, what's to keep, once stuff like this is known, or was it not known? How is it released? Because can't they just like one day goes to the principal and says, listen, we want this jerk out of here, period.
Yeah.
Don't make me come back here. Period.
Don't make me come back here. Exactly. I'll be online. I'll be snooping through stuff. I'll look at press releases and things like that. And that I came across that one was released in September about that teacher. You type in North Bend teacher, and every now and then you just type in North Bend teacher, sex offender, North Bend teacher fired, Coos Bay sex offender teacher, Coos Bay teacher fired, Coos County, and you put those in the search engine, and stuff pops out, and it's a PDF file from the Teachers Association of Oregon, and that's how I went down this rabbit hole and figured out who the guy was.
That's too much, man. And once again, yeah, you've got people defending these people, and I don't know why former students, it's like, he didn't molest me. Why? I don't know what your problem is. He didn't molest me, and I'm thinking, but you were butt ugly, Stoopy.
Yeah. In this instance, though, the guy defending him is another grown man with apparently, and he sent me a private message. I haven't looked at it. I won't open it. He's probably a nice guy, but I can't give an audience to a sex offender apologist. I don't care what they have to. There's nothing they have to say. Like, everybody in the world is wrong, and this guy's not a pedo, which. You look at him, he is. You look at what's going on with him, he is. But let's just say he's not. When you are in a friendship or relationship with somebody that gets painted with that brush, there's no more loyalty. Like, loyalty can run as thick as blood. But when you are of that persuasion, that loyalty stops instantly. I don't care if it's someone I've known since childhood. I don't care if it's someone that's donated me in Oregon. I don't care if it's a battle buddy. I don't care what it is. The moment I hear something like that, boom, it's done. Yeah. Hey, if this gets cleared up, man, and you get your shit together and you want to have a talk about it, come see me in a couple of years. Other than that, you're not around my family. You're not around me. Do not text me. Do not call me. I wish you the best. But the guy that had that Northwest Fitness Center or whatever. Yeah. Same thing. The guy had a history. The guy had a history of that stuff, and people were letting him around their kids.
Yeah, I mean, where are the parents that are taking these kids to their GED program at SWAC? I mean,
my gosh,
wouldn't the simplest thing to be just like go in there and like have all the kids that are taking that class, tell them to stop taking that class, and so if he has no classes to teach, they can get rid of him. If we used to do like civil disobedience, if there was a teacher that was molesting a kid, it would be nobody goes to that class. Everybody takes an F in history for that semester because we're not going to that class because that guy's a sicko.
Yep.
Yeah, something's got to be done about it. But in the case of Curtis Buell, the real, there's so much things that are salt in the wound with these guys, him working and being allowed to work with kids and stuff. He got a letter of recommendation from his parole officer. And the fact that he had a parole officer, how can you accept a letter of recommendation from this guy? I mean, it's just disgusting. If we were talking about loading trucks, okay, you're loading trucks, but you're working with little girls, the same aged girls that you're been convicted of molesting. It's insane, man. That's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, get a job, work, be productive, pull yourself back into society.
Yep.
You're going to be a sicko. You're going to be a sicko deviant freak until the day you die. But why the hell would you put them around kids? Why would you put that forbidden fruit in front of an offender?
Yeah.
Why would you? Hey, yeah, man, I'm 30 days sober. I've been an alcoholic for 45 years. Got me a job at the liquor store. My
Yep.
parole
Yeah.
officer said it'll be a good. What the hell sense is that?
Yeah.
My parole officer got me this cool job at the liquor store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good rant. We ranted
Sorry.
quite well on that one. I love where you came up with that. I mean, I thought we were running out of wind, and you just zapped us with that second wind of sex offender, a couple of CCs of screw these guys, man. I loved
Yep.
it. That was great.
Yeah, I'm very impassioned about it. And the older I get, and with my kids and stuff like that, I love my family so much. There is nothing I would not do for them. When you're young and you're a kid and you hear that stuff, and when I was a young man, I've always just loved little girls. But it's like you can't tell people that, because that's like that puts you on a watch list, right? But I just adore and love I just thought they're like the sweetest little things in the world, and I always wanted to have girls, and I ended up having 2 of them, and they are just like the best thing. My wife is like the best, most amazing thing that's ever happened to me, and I have this amazing family. And so help me God, any of these people, I
know.
You take my family or hurt my family, you've left me very few options. And I need more men out there to feel this way, or at least to express it. And maybe you already do, but to express it to those around. And let's normalize this quote unquote toxic masculinity. Brandi was talking earlier about swinging a hammer. Oh, I'll swing a hammer, Bubba. I'll swing a hammer. You do the wrong thing, and it'll happen for days. Yep.
Yeah, this is, and that's what we need, more active people. I watched, I remember this because I was just looking at 3H Tree Service, but I was watching Matt Holman do his latest video, and he just had to step back because he had his rotator cuff operated on and stuff, and he does that wild shit when he climbs up those trees. I'm just so impressed with stuff like that. But you get guys like that to the side, you get them alone, and they say the same thing you're saying.
Yep.
They just don't say it out loud because it's just not their style. You know what I mean? These are the last guys you want to piss off.
Yeah, he's far better mannered than I am. Good people, really good people. Absolutely. Yeah. They're an asset to this community. I mean, he's an asset to this community. His whole group of 3H is an asset to this community.
Totally. You want to hang around for the commercials? It won't take long. It's up to you.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I'm here.
Speaking of 3H Tree Service, there they are now at 541-294-1800. That's 541-294-1800. 3H Tree Service. If you have trees that are overhanging your house or blocking the way or just a nuisance, well, these are the people to call, because that's what they do, and they do it better than pretty much anybody else. And we've got video to prove it. Would you like me to add anything else, Rob, or should we move on to slide number 2?
I thought that was a recording. It was so perfect. I thought it was off, and I'm like doing all the scrolling on Facebook. Oh, that was done so well.
Yeah, that was good.
Another one of our sponsors is Tom & Gigs. Not only do they fix cars and give you accessories for those cars and all sorts of great things, if you've got car problems or if you just want to have your car checked on, go to Tom & Gigs. It's at 135 South Shoneman Street in Coos Bay, actually kind of Empire-ish. But anyway, Tom & Gigs, they have real cars and can fix real cars and real trucks and give you lift kits and give you all sorts of interesting accessories. But they also have RC cars, lift kits and performance accessories. But they also have RC cars and whatever that RC thing is. And more of that. And I thought, when I thought, RC cars, I thought, maybe the kind you could hold in the palm of your hand. No, these things are huge. So all your RC geeks. Oh, and if you want a helicopter, too bad. All they have is Hero copters. But then they
got a Volatar.
Volatar X. It's the helicopter that's RC. It's a Rage RC helicopter with stunt features.
And
it's the Hero Copter Military Edition. So when the National Guard shows up, you can show them your helicopter.
You can show them your helicopter. And fly and drive the trucks underneath their vehicles with explosives. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's all we need. Shape charges. And well, anyway. Oh, and they also have Tannerite, but you got to be 18 years or older, and you will be asked to show ID because
Yes.
you can get Tannerite at 18, but you can't smoke pot until you're 21, which brings us up to Herbal Choices Cannabis, herbalchoices.com. Like I said, you got to be 21 years or older, and I found out by going there, even if you're not buying anything, you got to show an ID. So Herbal Choices has 5 convenient locations: Charleston, Coos Bay, Bandon, North Bend, and Reedsport. Ooh, abstinence. We're keeping the abstinence message short today because abstinence messages.
Oh,
Next week we'll abstain.
We'll abstain from that one altogether. Oregon Firearms Federation is no compromise. They are the people that are trying to defend your Second Amendment gun rights. Go to OregonFirearms.org. They don't support us. We support them, and that's why we've got them on the show. And if you're in Bandon, go to the Bandon Gun Club. It's trap, 5-stand, and pistol range. And then if you got something you want to shoot at a longer distance, you got to go out to Tioga Sports Park Association. That's where you can shoot something 100 yards away if you've got talent, which I don't have.
It's not that hard. Oh, and I
Yeah,
love
well,
this. This Coos County Neighborhood Watch. This is so cool going there. Talk about Samuel Adams. He's got this house that he's been surveilling with the.
oh wow.
That is so hilarious. They're so stupid, man. They keep going there.
Yep.
Yeah, never ran into a person who committed crimes multiple times that I ever found to be really smart. So
No. Actually, he's got a dance video. He's put them all together and made of this dance video to it. So it's all, you can catch it all on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. That's a great place. And of course, Chris, he's over at the Coos County Citizen Council. He's going to be doing his live stream on Wednesday, and lots to talk about. I'm sure he's going to have lots to talk about because there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'll be on Monday. And Rob,
back on Monday.
Doug, when are you going to be on? When are you next time on the radio and the podcasting?
Wednesday at 3 p.m. on your favorite station. And then, and of course on Spotify and Amazon Prime. It's supposed to be on Apple, and it's difficult to get that one figured out. I don't know why, but on iTunes. It's supposed to be on iTunes, but it never shows up on there, and I don't know what button I'm hitting wrong. And I'm looking at doing more. Like I need to, and I don't know where to find the time, but I need to do more. I need to do some live stuff where I can interact with people online. I used to do that back in the day, and we had such good results with it. But then time, there's not enough hours in the day. I need 36 hours a day. I need 9 days a week. I need 5 weeks a month, and I need 13 months in the year. And then maybe we can start figuring stuff out.
Yeah. I get it. There's like so many interviews that I could be getting, but there's no way. People don't realize how much preparation you got to put into stuff and editing if you're doing recording and
that time, just your time. Like you have to. Everything else in the world has to stop for that time.
Yeah, totally. But I'm not complaining because I love doing it, and I know you love doing it too.
Awesome.
I watch your videos. And that's like watching Matt Holman's videos. You know you're having fun when you're doing it. Yeah.
They're all genuine, and even the stuff where I'm just being silly and calling animals the wrong names because it pisses off so many people. That has gotten us so much. Folks are loving that. They are loving that because I'm doing this new thing now where I just call out the retards. I just call them out, and I'll post their profile pictures, and this is what this clown said. And if people are genuinely I think that's an elk, not a moose. Like I'm not going to pick on them. But when the guy's like, "You're such a dumbass," it's an effing elk. Now you've crossed that line, buddy. You come to my page and cross that line.
Yeah. Why do they get so upset about it? I don't know why people don't. It's like sarcasm. You don't get it. You don't. The Gulf of America. You're not getting that? I'm sorry.
Right.
I just, he's the greatest troller of all. You know what I mean? The shit he says. And you're like,
I don't even try.
Yeah.
There's like no effort put into it. I'm using barbless hooks and no bait, and yet they still got one.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like it's 3:00 in the morning, and the fish are swimming all around the boat.
Yeah, exactly. Well done, sir. Well
No,
done.
but that kind of why you doing that kind of was, I've made a couple of pictures. I've taken like old museum pictures, and that's why I took that one that you did of Mingus and put Bigfoot in it, because
I
I've been
love
studying-
that.
And so I've been taking these old pictures and using AI and telling it put Bigfoot in this picture, and it will take that old picture and put a Bigfoot in it. It's like I'm posting it as if, see, ancient history, ancient aliens. I'm telling you.
Great stuff. And a lot of people are, oh, that's AI.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
real? Nothing gets by you, buddy. Nothing gets by you. So a man 100 years ago didn't hand noodle 300-pound bluefin tuna while Bigfoot stood over and watched him. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's pretty sharp.
Didn't you know the original inhabitants of Bandon before the Gorse came in were the Bigfoot? And once the Gorse came in, the Bigfoot wouldn't come by anymore because it was just too pointy. But they used to hand noodle 300-pound tuna all the damn time. That's what Bigfoot do. That's why they're called Bigfoot and Big Hands.
So Marty, you know Stan Avery. He's a mutual friend of ours. So he does that Bigfoot thing, and I did the radio show, and I had Doug Washington on the radio during this Bigfoot thing, and you know how Stan is all convinced he saw Bigfoot or whatever the hell he saw, and Doug goes to tell a story about, I saw Bigfoot too. And Stan goes, yeah, they have big teeth. He goes, no, this one didn't have any teeth, and it ran off to the Devereaux Center. It was but you had this long, like it was much more detailed than what I put into it, but it was so funny because it was like, you're making fun of me. Well, yeah,
I always like it when you can do a story like that where you lead somebody down a path, and then at the last second it's like, and then they turned into the Devereaux Center.
Yep.
But
it was meth. He was smoking meth.
It was smoking meth. Harry he lives in the woods. You see him out at night sometimes. They make these weird grunting sounds. And anyway, he crawled back under his tarp, smoke his meth pipe, and then I saw him stealing cans the next day.
Bigfoot. It's all Bigfoot. And so, I love watching those. He could get like the Ancient Alien show on the History Channel. And that's why our kids are so fucked up. Excuse my language, but they put these shows on the History Channel, like they're real.
Yes.
And you got this guy with crazy hair saying,
yes, that guy.
It looks like an ancient alien, doesn't it? Well, that's what it is. And you're like,
ancient astronaut theorists say, George Stephanopoulos, ancient astronaut theorist, says that, these temples didn't build themselves. Look at how clean these lines were. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yeah. And I admit, I don't think the real archaeologists have the story, but I just don't think it's don't go straight to ancient aliens and Bigfoot and shit.
And they make it sound like it's a real position, like ancient astronaut theorists say. And I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I know there's particle physics. And,
I want to know who those ancient.
Where did you get your degree? Was it online courses, or was it something that produced something that's doing?
I'm an alienologist. Tell me where you got that degree. Tell me who that's backed by. What institution of higher learning backs that?
Yeah, it's very much like political therapy. It's a bunch of bullshit. But I'll charge you $30,000 a semester just to and sell you some abstinence to go with it.
Hey.
Rob, you got anything going on tonight? You going fishing? Is there 3 in the morning fishing going on?
No, tonight's just a stay home night. Probably have a low key weekend. Yeah, I think it's a plan. I think it's. I'll get to a point where I'll get real tired, and then I need to do a couple of days off because I don't sleep a bunch. I go till I'm exhausted, then I nap for a bit, and then I get up and go again. So I'm up half the night. I'm up throughout the day, and I think it's time for a little bit of R&R. And the weather's lousy, so the weather kind of forces me down too. Once this rain hits and we start getting that accumulation of precipitation and it starts running into our system, it desalinates that bay. It changes temperatures, does all that kind of stuff, and it's just not conducive to fishing. Typically, this time of year, I want to see 2 days without any real rain, to speak of before I'll go out and fish. You just need to kind of clean up the system. You know, some real good tidal exchanges, the inflow from upriver and in the hills and stuff. I want that to kind of wash out a bit, and then I'll get out. That water's been so clear lately. I did some underwater video a couple weeks ago in a crab trap, and it was like bathtub clear water. It was 30 feet and just crystal clear.
What camera do you use for that?
I use GoPros. I used to have GoPro 8s, and then I just, you lose them over time, right? They snap off of things, you drop them in the water. Those were my favorite. I think they're on GoPro 12 now. GoPro's done and gone the way of a lot of products that are innovators. They get really good, and then they keep releasing new models, but they don't improve on what they do. Like, there's nothing new and exciting about it. Like, faster memory speeds, or more light sensitive. Not enough to justify it. You haven't really made the software better. You haven't made the buttons better. You're just kind of riding on your laurels and using the name recognition. So I've switched it Insta360 for a lot of stuff. And those 360 cameras are nuts. I'll have a 360 camera mounted, just one camera anywhere in the boat, and it literally picks up 360 degrees from anywhere around. And I could post the 360 video so people on their touch screen can move it around. So you can look all around the crab trap, you can look around the boat or whatever, or you can, in editing, take exactly what you want. So the person in the front of the boat catches a fish, you've got a GoPro pointing at the back of the boat, you miss it. With the Insta360, it catches everything, and you can edit the parts you want. Oh, it's mind-blowing the first couple times you use it. You can look straight up, you can look straight down, you can look behind, front, sideways. It's wild.
Wow, that is incredible.
That's a pretty
Technology's come a long way.
Pretty good commercial for Insta360, I tells you.
Yeah, call Insta360. You just did a great job. You did all right yourself there. I mean, Marty's got competition here. We need to start throwing these promos up on the screen.
I'm just reading the scripts. I'm not that passionate about it. I'm not going, it's herbal choices. I don't buy stuff there, but they're nice to us.
No, I seriously, when you started doing the commercials, it was so perfectly done. I thought it was a recording, so I'm just like, I didn't realize there's still live people talking, and I looked, and it's like, your mouth is moving. What the hell's going on? I'm like, oh crap, you're doing it live.
We had him read a bill. Was it a bill? It was some part of the legislation, and it was quite lengthy, and he read it, and I mean, he did a spectacular. I stumble over words. Punctuation is not important to me and stuff like that when I read. But him, I mean, it was like listening to freaking Alexis. You know what I mean? It was like to the T. You were very good. You're a very good reader at that. You should get a job.
That's awesome.
Doing stuff like that.
I mean, I used to do that to keep myself entertained, because to put myself through college, I worked in radio, and I worked from midnight to 6, which means I had to take classes and then work overnight. So, but what I used to do is I had to read the news. And instead of like getting the news, looking at it and reading it, I just said, okay, let's make this fun. And I would 1 a.m. headlines. I go rip the news at 12:56, carry it in, turn on the microphone, and just read it cold. So I'd just cold read it and just keep working on it until I could read scripts cold like the first time. So it would be,
that's awesome.
You can throw something in front of me, and I can look at it real quick and then just go, it's like, for instance, Samantha's comment, no law shall be passed reinstating or restraining any of the inhabitants of the state from assembling together in a peaceable manner to consult, and so forth and so on. So I could normally
those aren't easy words to put together. Like the to get the right intonation, to get the right, those are not easy words to read like that.
No, they're not.
But that's how I made money to put myself through college. And people go, wow, you ought to work in radio. I'm going, been there, done that.
Been there, done that. But yeah, I listen, to the voices on
that. Actually, that's the name of one of the guys that owns one of the Somali daycares, I think. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that, I think. I don't know, I'm sure.
And then the guy that's running the other Somali daycare didn't do nothing.
Yeah, right.
At the Leering Center. We were at the Leering Center. All right, guys. This has been a blast. I really enjoyed this. And I'm so glad you come on here, Rob, and talk about this. The port thing was just, I had to share. I really had to share. And I'm glad you came on to talk about that, because I was making those claims 2 years ago. We have some mutual friends who had been talking about it for a while, how broke they were. And you really couldn't say anything because the report wasn't coming out. And then when she did it, and she cried because she's just so overwhelmed. It's like, geez, wow.
With all due respect to her, and call me a misogynistic pig. I love women. Like I say, I have 3 women in my life and 2 cats that are female. So there's 5 females when I go back into that house, and then there's me. And I love them. I adore them, but they have their place. They have their place, just like men have their place. We are not nurturers. The reason she was crying is because she was a nurturer by nature. Now she's upset because she can't make this thing work. She's stressed. It's not working. Whereas a guy is like, well, shit's broken. Let's fix it, and say bad words, cuss, break some things, and get it done. Women and men are not equal in any shape, form, or fashion whatsoever. Equally valuable, should be equally cared for, but we're not equal. And when I watched that, it was like, this is what I've been saying quietly amongst my peers for years, is that there's just, women do not belong in every facet that a man also belongs to. Just like every man does not belong where women belong to at times. There's delineations there. And I hope she's doing better, but that's a tough thing to recover from. That's a tough thing to recover from, because now I'll have a judgment forever. Forever. I mean,
yeah. What, it is it is what she made of it. And there you go. It's a sad statement on 30 years, almost 30 years, 25 years of boondoggles. I mean, there's a book written on the boondoggles of the Port of Coos Bay going back 50 years, written by Wim de Vreen. And it's just one after another.
Really?
And yeah, there's a whole book written on it. And it's a statement that, the port commissioners are doing a job they're not allowed to do, because the state's never going to allow them to do it. And that's why the state took over the port years ago and made it an international port, is they're never going to let those people do what any business would normally do to make a functional port. I mean, they can't even get the boat yard working. Look at that. They foiled a good sale because they didn't like the guy's politics. You know what I mean?
That's wild. That's wild to me.
Yep.
Like that, I'm surprised there weren't lawsuits and things. Like, to me, that is just something that, but then, you open up a whole other can of worms, and then things get ugly, and it's whatever. Yep. But that blows my mind.
Yeah. And the fact that they were warned about the fire, that there was going to, they couldn't put a copper generator in there, copper wiring next to the salt water, that the fire was, they said that was going to occur. They can't do it on boats half the time. So why would they think that they could do it right there? And they were warned about that stuff. So I don't know. It's infuriating when you hear this shit, but she was overwhelmed. Rails to trails. That's what they're coming up with, man. That's their solution.
Yeah, that'll reap in the revenues.
Right.
Who needs a container ship port? Who needs a railroad? We're going to get a couple of bikers and spandex. That'll fix it. A couple of soy lattes and a granola bar. That'll balance the budget, baby.
Quinoa and kale hut.
And it's just, is
that name already used? I was going to try to use Olive Garden, but it seems to be getting beat to death. So I'm going with
I love the Olive Garden tradition. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I've adopted since moving here. People are like, what the? I'm like, I've never seen the first few Olive Garden posts. I'm like, this is funny. This is brilliantly funny. Whoever first came up with that and perpetuated it, kept it going. And it's like, I do my part that I can for it. I have people stopping me all the time and asking if we're opening an Olive Garden.
Someday Olive Garden is going to open here, and you're going to have a freaking heart attack. You're just
right.
Elizabeth, the big one.
Yeah. Nobody will believe it. They won't have any customers for the first year because everybody's going, "Oh, I'm not falling for that."
I'm not
one
falling
again."
for that one.
Yep.
You won't get me, Sal Carruthers. No.
No, if
not
it's a
falling
key
for
on
that one.
kale head, though, I'm right there.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, it's been fun. I gotta go to the head here, and I'll talk to you all later, man.
We've all had good bladder control tonight.
Yeah, we have. That's why Brandi got off. You know, the women's they can't. They got the peanut bladder. They got the peanut bladder going. Of course, you know Marty. He's got the old bottle under the table. You didn't hear that.
Yeah, truckers. Yeah, truckers trick. Yeah. Oh, you guys.
He forgets he's not in a truck and he throws it out the window. His wife gets mad at him. Where are all these bottles for? Oh, honey, don't smell those.
Oh my gosh.
Good thing I've got 45 CDLs that I never actually applied for, so I don't have to worry about that.
There you go. Proud of you, man. Proud of
Funny.
You.
Nice.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Y'all take care.
Have a good one, Jim. Rob, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
No problem.
Happy
Me
New
too.
Year, everyone. It's been another great night, so thanks so much.
Good night, y'all.
Take care.